a fat stomach, saggy ass. There you go. It's a Hamlet and Freddy Baloney. It's a Hamlet and Freddy Baloney smell. Yeah, it's a Hamlet and Freddy Baloney. Humble and Fred!
Humble and Fred Radio.
Senorita, look at that. Can't be said, need a bed in Espanol. So give me a drink of water. I'm gonna sing around the collar and I don't need a microphone.
This is the legendary Humble and Fred Show, Canada's national morning show.
You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
Bill, the following episode of Humble and This is my proper
What's
microphone.
happening?
Okay, let's try this again. The following episode of Humble and Fred Radio is brought to you by FYI Music News, The Retirement Sherpa, Gig Sky, The Chambers Plan, Strain Print, Freedom Construction, Ringside MD, Clear Air Solutions, and coming soon, our newest sponsor, CDN Technologies. If you'd like to talk to Humble and Fred, call 1-833-437-8465. That's 1-833-HF-STINK. And now from the Humble and Fred Queensway National Broadcast Center, here are Humble and Fred.
That's right. Thank you, Phil. Finally, Humble and Fred. Fredless today, as Fred is taking a tour of the UK and Ireland and Scotland. It's a lot of lands. It's a lot of land. Big show today. Amanda Barker's here. Big show. Any show where you can announce that actress, singer, songwriter, producer Amanda Barker's on the show.
Songwriter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's true, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. So that's a big lineup. Wholesome Foods, I Love You. Is That Okay? Is the long name of a 3-time indie series. Is that really the whole?
Yeah, that's the whole name.
Wholesome Foods, comma, I Love You, ... Is that okay? Question mark.
Yeah, it's a long title.
Well, it sounds fantastic. What's it about? Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
It's a web series.
It's a web series.
You know, a lot of times in the olden days, people would poo-poo a web series. Not anymore. Not ever since Victorian gay fun. That show.
A gay Victorian affair.
I was going to say Broad City.
Victorian gay
fun. That one did pretty well.
What is that called?
A gay Victorian affair.
Love that show.
It was neck and neck with this one at the Seoul International Web Fest.
I'm young.
But
What aren't you involved in?
Math.
Yeah, I get it, man. That's true of all performers, isn't it? You know, I was good in math. Did you know I was accelerated? Do you even know what that term means?
I 100% believe you were accelerated, and actually I believe you were quite good at math.
So
if you had the right teacher.
I went from grade 1 to grade 3 because they thought a lot. It's a complicated story, but the short of it is I was born in January, so I went to school later. But then they thought I was too smart. I remember being separated into the bunny group. That was the smart group.
Hang on.
Ooh. Yeah.
You are January.
Or maybe I was on the younger end.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So whatever it was,
I see.
they put me ahead.
I gotcha.
And so for the longest time, you know, I was a smart little grade school nerd.
Yeah.
And then I remember the day like it was yesterday. I was in my one of those algebra classes. And when it was just adding things and multiplying and dividing, I was a wizard.
Okay.
And then the day that algebra was introduced, I remember the teacher, I was sort of middle of the class, and I remember him talking about something and X and Y, and there were brackets. And I just remember the words literally coming by me. I saw them as they flew by me and smacked against the back of the classroom, and I watched them slowly drool down the. And I was like, I didn't understand anything.
Yeah.
That just came out of that man's mouth.
Yep.
What do we do? Where's the times tables?
Right.
I'm all about the times tables.
I can add.
Yeah.
Wow, can I add?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But the Pythagorean theorem escaped me.
It was sine, cosine, tangent. I've never really connected to that.
But that teacher was kind of responsible for me starting my comedic career, because at one of the school, whatever they called those talent things, I did an impression of him.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like bang on.
Oh, wow.
Brought the place to tears.
Did he?
Huge bit.
Did he love it?
He did not love it.
Oh, wow.
He did not love my impression of him.
And thus began your career.
Thus began my career of pissing people off.
Alienating
whilst
people.
I was just trying to be funny.
That's funny. He didn't like
He didn't like it,
Wow.
but it was a good impression.
I really thought you were going to say he loved it, and then he became, you
No.
know, my
No.
Spencer's godfather or
Yes.
something.
I named my daughter after him, Mr. Miller or whatever his name was. Welcome to the show. Now, this is interesting. We were going to have a little competition today, Barker and I. Actually, how this began, the genesis of it was years ago. I worked with a guy that's sort of well known now in sports, not Fred, but Jeff Merrick from Sportsnet.
Yeah.
Is he Sportsnet?
Yep.
Does that sound like something you would know?
Merrick is Sportsnet.
He's Sportsnet.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of that, did you hear that? See that Kiprios got fired?
Yeah, poor guy.
I know. Our buddy Nick Kiprios, another guy that started on the Humble and Fred
Yeah.
show. I was speaking with Shawarma yesterday, who, by the way, is coming in next Thursday to talk about that mark. I know Thursday's busy.
Thursday's insane.
I know.
Yeah. I'll try to move. I'm going to try to move some things out of
But
Thursday.
no, he's just gonna do a little drop in, hang during the show because this
Okay.
Martin Street tribute
Everybody
thing.
wants in on Thursday,
All right.
man.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
It's fine. We'll make it work.
So Merrick was doing news on the Humble and Fred show when we were at Mojo, and Jeff's. At that time, my mother had died maybe 8 years before that, and Jeff's had died maybe a little bit before that. So
Okay.
I was fairly young, but Jeff is even younger than me, and we had what we call the dead mother smackdown, and we went back and forth about how much more dead our mothers were than the other, and why that was, who was affected more by the death of their mother.
Wow.
And we went back and forth, to the hilarity of all. And I remember distinctly when I won, the last thing I said was, "That's fine, Jeff, but my mother never got to see the birth of my children." Boom! End of story.
Yeah.
But, so in the spirit of that, yesterday we were joking about death, as we do. And we thought, at the end of the show, I thought, well, why don't we have who came up with the name? You
Dead
did?
People Poker.
Dead
yes.
People Poker. And one of the rules was I couldn't use my parents, because, again, that's like a mic drop. Like,
Did
oh,
we
yeah?
decide that? Yeah, we did.
I mean, you start throwing down cards,
That's a
and
nuclear
somebody
bomb.
turns over dead mother, followed by dead father.
Yeah. No, you win.
What are you going to do?
You win.
But
No orphans.
yeah, that's
Orphans
right.
win. They always
So
win.
we were going to have that little fun game today about who's known more dead people, and then you came in a whirlwind of marital whatever, fraught with marital. Yeah, you keep reading there, son. Marco's like, I'm not making eye contact with anybody. So Barker came in and was like, I can't do the dead poker people.
I haven't warmed up, and also I
know.
did the old Facebook tribute.
I saw it.
And it kind of wrecked me.
Yeah.
And Marco came upstairs, and of course I'm sitting on my computer typing away, bawling, and he's like, "Can I go downstairs? I don't know. I don't want to leave you here, but are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm fine." And I had to record my friend's podcast last night, so we went to that together. So, yeah, I just am a little wrecked from the old Deatharoo, and her husband finally posted. He's been in shock, so I don't know. We all a little fresh here over here. I just don't want to cry again. You know.
Listen, man.
Also, I really want to make a good list.
No, I know. It's funny. I'd forgotten all about it till this morning. I was like, dang, I didn't make a list.
I know. I don't have a good
So-
list going. It's good because it'll be a lot of. There's that girl in high school, the one
Yeah,
that
we
picked
got to
her
come up
nose.
with some good rules. It's got to be like,
That's
because,
what I'm saying.
see, I would say, and in light of your friend just passing, and now, by the way, it was a beautiful tribute. I'm not much for these.
Yeah.
You know, I'm, notoriously not patient enough to read a lot of Seymours on Facebook.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
After
it
the
was a
second line,
Seymour.
right? In
You
the
know,
update.
That's fair.
this is a super Seymour. And I'm not. It's not a name. If you know what I'm talking about, when people post something longer than Facebook allows, it's always ... Seymour. Click on the hyperlink, and I'm like, I'm not a Seymour person.
Yeah.
But I was a Seymour friend for you, and I read the whole thing about your friend Allison Marshall, and it's really well written too, man.
Thank you.
It's really beautiful, and you know, I don't think I could pass a quiz on all the details, but I skimmed nicely.
TLDR.
I gave
Fine.
it a good.
You don't need to.
I gave it a good skim.
I felt bad. I didn't really talk about her being a mom, but to be very honest, I hadn't seen much of her in the last decade. Where that's been her last decade has been her mom decade. So,
Who's Mooney? Is that her nickname?
Her name is Allison. Was Allison Mooney?
Oh, I see.
Her
I see.
married name was Allison Marshall.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah, but I've always known her as Mooney. Even when she was married, I still called her Mooney.
Well, so there you go. I read the thing, and it's beautiful. And what I love about it is that you didn't post a picture of her. You posted a picture of her favorite place.
Yeah, I was looking for photos, and I'm sure I have lots, and I could go through my wedding photos, and I also didn't want to make it a photo of the two of us because I don't know. I just didn't want to. Whenever you post about these things, we've talked about this ad nauseum. It's about you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's about you. But I don't know. I just didn't want. There was no picture that was going to do it all justice of her. Do I, pick a photo of her back then or more recently or somewhere in between? I don't know.
A photo of the two of you at
Yeah.
an event.
Collage.
At homecoming,
Yeah, exactly.
with our faces painted,
Here's where we went to clown college, or whatever you people did out east.
So yeah, and I was on her Facebook, and she wasn't a big Facebook poster like you and I. She kind of held back.
Whoa. I'm not a big Facebook poster.
She wasn't
Oh,
the way
like
we
you and
are
I.
not a big Facebook.
Oh, I
posters.
see.
I don't.
I thought
fancy much.
you're a bit of a poster.
Yeah, if it's more than once a week, it's too much for me. That's how I see it.
I just want to read everyone the end of this. It's very well written, and I love this. I love the idea of it. She's Amanda talks about her friend, and then talks about I have photos and all this, and she says at the end. This is Amanda, by the way. Amanda says at the end. So she said, talking about her friend, she brought so much ease. This is a great sentence. She brought so much ease to every space she made home. That's very good.
Well, it's very true. That's who she was.
She brought so much. Phil, did you even hear that?
Yes, I have.
All the nonsense going on in your head right now.
See more.
Yes. She brought so much ease to every space she made home. And so I leave you with that. The world is less easy, less comforting, less home without you. I will forever love you. Thank you for all the hugs. So I thought I'd start the show by making you cry again.
Great.
I thought I would just start the program 2 days in a row. You're so easy.
I know.
Listen, I used to make
I'm
women
easy.
cry in the show all the time.
I'm easy
It's
to
a
make
lot
cry,
harder
I
than
am.
this.
It's all always just under the surface for me.
Damn.
She was a very.
We can't have dead people poker in the light of this kind of emotion.
I know. We can, and we will.
Yeah.
We will.
Oh, next Monday we will. Next Tuesday.
Tuesday, not Monday. Just in time for back to school.
Yes, that's right. All
we
the
are
other
back.
DJs and this morning show's be like, "Hey, back to school."
Oh, thanks.
And Amanda and I will be like, "Who knows more dead people?"
She
Who are these dead people?
She really was easy. I don't know another way to put it. She just made a space. She would paint a space. She was an artist. She was a fine art student at Mount A when we went there. And she would just make a space beautiful. She would get into the space and it would feel comfortable and easy, and you'd want to be in that space. You would. That's who she was.
Well, I meant what I said. It's a
Yeah.
great sentence. She brought so much ease to every space she made home, Phil. Okay?
Peace of mind.
It's like, is there a sentence that represents the opposite of what I do? Because
He makes
There-
every space as hard as
be
possible.
like, Howard could sour a room. It's the beginning.
under 10.
Yeah. Howard can take a room from 0 to sour. I can. Although, ever since I became, Queensway's spiritual leader, QSL,
Yeah.
the Queensway's spiritual leader, I'll ease into her room now. I'm going to a thing tonight. I got to go to a thing with GFR.
Oh.
What's a thing? What you doing?
Well,
What's today? Today's Thursday?
today's Thursday. So Rachel's brother, Andrew, he's a cool dude. Just came back from living in Singapore for 6 months.
Oh.
He does something,
Singapore.
and then he lives in Denmark.
Oh, wow.
His wife lives in Geneva. They just live all over the world. They're just cool
He
people.
lives in Denmark and his wife lives
Yeah.
in Geneva.
Yeah, they're cool.
Wow.
They've been together 16 years, have never lived in the same place together, you know.
Okay,
They're not having arguments about where my shoes,
I guess.
whatever.
Where's my flight?
Marco's like, sounds good. That'd be cool. Anyway, so Andrew's in town, and he's got cool friends, and his buddy from Australia is here. You know, this type of
16.
thing.
I'm sorry, I'm still on that.
Anyway.
16 years.
But this is the
I know.
premise is I can sour a room, but I gotta go to this thing tonight. They're having a barbecue on downtown near Ryerson, some rooftop of some cool thing, you know. And you know, old Howard, that would be a recipe for disaster,
Yeah.
you know.
So, what's
So-
it like not actually being married? I can see
No,
it.
I don't
can
do
see-
that though.
I can see it.
They are married,
No, I know.
but
I know.
you know, I don't even. But
Just play them this.
yeah, that's a good point. But you know, I'm looking forward to it because you know now I've learned how to navigate with regular folk.
Yeah.
And try and be very quiet and polite. See-
Acting.
Yes.
That's
you know-
what it is. You're trying to be one of them.
Well, that's funny you said it because, you know, sometimes you think, am I a sociopath just doing an impression of how a human being would act?
Yes, all of us.
Like, do you ever feel that?
Yes.
Like, I do that. I have had that notion recently quite a bit. Like, for instance, when I went to Cabot, the thing with the golf.
Cabot Links?
Right.
You know, I'm not normally... it's not my norm to be around, you know, 3 strangers for 4 days, even if they're people I sort of know through golf. So I was thinking to myself, well, how do people act on these things?
What does one say
What
in
does
this
one
new
say?
human universe?
Yeah.
How do you speak
Anyway.
human?
So I have,
So, how are the things? do you like stuff?
Name a thing.
what about that series on the Netflix? Well, should we discuss that now? So, but
People are actually that boring. That's the sad truth of it.
but I do want to explore the notion that I think a lot of human interaction is you doing, even subtly, even if it's not overt somewhere, you're just kind of doing your impression of how you think you're supposed to act. We were talking about authenticity with Jonathan Roy the other day, and that's what it is. It's like when you like that moment just now, reading what you wrote, and that moment yesterday when you were talking about your friend. Yeah, I mean, you breaking down a little bit and crying, but that's a real moment. That really happened. You don't hear that on. I mean, we were joking about regular radio. You don't hear that on regular radio. You know, no one's like, 7:15, we have traffic and weather, but first our co-host is going to cry for 30 seconds.
and
then,
at 8
then
o'clock,
we'll do the birthday game.
Amanda Tear update.
That's right.
Tears are coming down really fast to Howard today this morning.
That's right. Amanda, we'd like to have you cry some more about the death of your friend, but first we got the birthday game.
Hey!
Some lucky person's going to Rama.
Third caller tries.
Say, I just that suspicion that, you know, I'm just a sociopath doing an impression of how a person should act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is really. It
Yeah.
is. Yeah. No, I know, and it gets harder and easier as you get older. I think in different ways because you kind of are like, what's the point? Like you just want to cut to the chase.
Right.
I think.
You know, drinking, and in my case, not drinking, has really given me a different perspective. Excuse me, that's only 3 years and 9 months old because I didn't realize that prior to that what I would do with drinking, and I think this is true of a lot of people, is that drinking allows them to drop the facade a little bit. Mm-hmm. And that's why, I mean, we all know people that, you know, it's not new information that some people's personalities change when they're drunk. But I think now that I've seen it being sober, is that their personality, they become who they really are for a few hours. Or who they'd like to be.
Yeah.
Or what they'd like to say if they really had the courage. Or the all kinds of things they'd like to really do if they could.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
People, oh, Howard, it's so fun.
I think the thing with drinking too is
Sorry, Sean.
yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's I always think the line is so thin, and I've often thought with myself the line is just maybe I was just born with that thinner line of
Some people,
being
yeah.
willing to just do anything, or I always in high school and junior high I there's nothing more than I loved than a dare. I loved to be dared, because then it was like great, it was full license to do whatever it was that, to be honest, I would be happy to do anyway. There was never. I always felt like I didn't have that level of embarrassment that most people had, or that level of caution.
Well, think about what we've done for a living.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people, and that's why, in general, performers, people that perform in whatever discipline, are a little bit different than the everyday person.
Sure.
Precisely for that. I'm not surprised that you say that, because I've also been similar. Like, I have been willing to try and been embarrassed in a lot of different things. I talk about this in my little, TED Talk.
Yeah.
But in my little presentation that I've given a few times, I talk about that sometimes what holds people back is they're afraid of not being good at something at first. So they sort of cut themselves off from trying anything. It's like you would be willing to try anything. Hey, we're going to go do this weekend. Cool, I've never done that. And you embrace it, whereas some people, they're so afraid of that because they're afraid of how they're going to look when they're not, very good at it, or they're not, I talk about this day one experience, which is, for some people, I love it. Like your first day going to do anything.
Right.
But a lot of people hate that.
Right.
And it's too bad because they cut themselves off,
And in our world, we're conditioned to have to constantly do that. Whether it's first day at the new radio station, first day in a play where you don't know everybody, the table read, all those things.
First, you go to, I went to, for 3 years in my middle 20s, I was in different comedy clubs every week in a different town, different people. And it's just, it becomes a muscle. You're in different casts. You're working with different people. It's like you have to learn to kind of negotiate the world differently.
I think there's a few things there. I think being from a small town can help because you already know that there's a whole world outside of that town. And so you already have to go ahead and plunk yourself into that world and find the way, your way in. You have to do that. That's the only way to get there. You weren't born into Toronto where you're kind of surrounded by it, but then you have to find the right people. So it's a different way of looking at it. I think sometimes there's maybe a birth order thing there too, because you're the baby of your family. I'm not the baby, I'm the middle child, but neither one of us are the first children. And I think there's something to be said. My parents kind of, all their expectations were on my sister. So I was kind of the other one. So, it was like whatever I did was, listen, there was a lot of expectations, but there was a certain level where it was like, just, we don't care what you graduated in, but hey, just graduate. So it freed me from I have to be a doctor, or I have to care what people think about me.
100%. In our family, my older brother David, there was so much, it was the first kid, so much expectation. You had to go to school. You had to do this. My other brother, of course, middle child, he was going to university. By the time I was along, they're like, listen, just don't make meth. Just don't kill anyone.
And
don't make meth.
You were free. Okay, I'm
go.
into radio. Okay,
I didn't have
radio.
to. I didn't have to go to school.
Yeah.
I barely had to. They thought, you want to go introduce records? That sounds fine, Howard.
Yeah.
Just don't cook meth.
Yeah.
Don't kill anyone.
Don't go to
think
jail.
That frees kids up sometimes.
Yeah.
To not have to be perfect and to be okay to fail because you're only failing for yourself. There's nobody else behind you waiting on it.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break. In our next segment, actor, improviser, raconteur, podcast, producer, host, creator, friend of one and all, beautiful Italian character, Marco Timpano, hand model, and wife, husband of wife, husband man.
In need of some coffee. I'm going to order him up some.
Why can't you just have like a nice coffee here and we'll get you another coffee?
Yeah, we need coffee.
Well, whatever. We're going to talk to Marco.
We're going to get him up.
One of my favorite people in the Barker family. It's great to be with you. The program has just begun. It's Humble and Fred Radio. Fredless. All right, Stan.
It's the same lady from
it's the
yesterday.
old-
He barked at that exact same lady yesterday, and she didn't turn her head yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. 7:25, old lady walk by time.
Exactly.
It's great to be with you on Funny 820 and around the world at humbleandfredradio.com.
That's why I'm easy. I'm easy like Sunday morning.
Really? Is that
Well, you go deal with them, because we're not putting them on until way later. I wish we could go. Why don't you?
Espresso machine so we can do both. Good morning.
Hi, people.
What's up?
I just wanted you to go open the door because they were.
Do you know
Find every group you can find on Facebook, and this is what I do
I'm the
the
last
whole
one.
time.
What's that?
Every group I can find on Facebook for like Twitch streamers and this sharing.
I'm Alexis Figer.
Not hard. Once it's set up, like it takes time to kind of have everything you want and get the flow, because it was a while of kind of learning as I was going and not having something turned on.
It took a
the
couple
audio,
of months for us to get used to the equipment and buying whatever needed.
putting webcams on the radio desk. That was.
Oh, so you
I still
got
don't know
a
how Brett
web
feels about it.
This is like awesome.
Oh, but all this is like 1080p, so you might as well be just a radio.
I am not. I haven't got the feed on today. Is there more than 27 people watching?
Not yet.
Same old people.
Same old, but yeah, just same old. Don't worry about it. Next week will be bigger.
No, I don't worry about it.
Just accept next week we might reach 100.
We might what?
Reach 100.
Why? What have you done?
Okay,
Sean's
this
got
is
tricks
important.
up
Do you want
his sleeve.
Starbucks? Do you want second? Okay, what do you, okay, hang on.
Oh, we're doing the Uber Eats thing again. Because yesterday we were already pretty
What do you want from Starbucks? A latte?
Yeah.
Just a latte.
So mean about it, isn't she?
No, I just don't want to. I fucked it up yesterday because I was on air trying to do it.
Howard Meach says, thanks for planning my yesterday. I did 2 out of 3 of it. I listened to a lot of REM and watched the Chappelle special. Didn't
Good, I'm
reveal
glad you
much.
enjoyed
I
it.
started the Chappelle special. I was trying to get him to watch it. What do you guys
You
want?
want to ask
from
him if you,
Starbucks?
hey Meech, did you watch the after part, the epilogue? Because a lot of people don't know it's there. I didn't know it was there. There's like a second.
It's not
Hey, guys, can we do, Phil, sorry for bothering you there. Can you
Sorry,
do,
sorry. Straight print, right?
Do you want a latte? You want anything?
No.
Oh yeah, you don't do milk. Do you
No,
want anything else?
I'm good.
Eggy bite?
Yeah, what
I'll
about the
buddy or
sous vide?
something.
Oh, do you want me to order food?
No, I
was
don't want
gonna-
anything. Oh no, I want no food. I'm fine. Strain print for you.
sure.
Can we have Amanda do ringside MD, please, guys?
I
Can
didn't get
you?
the clearer.
Yes, clear. should be
Clearer
over
should have
here.
happened,
But no, I need strain ringside for Amanda now, please.
Yes, and then I got straight
Okay.
print here.
What do you want?
Oh, they have the egg that we love.
What kind?
Of your choosing.
Bacon?
So you just put those. No, I'm just saying. So you just wear them like headphones. I might point to your mouth. I just mean we want you to put it in front of you. But it's
Yeah, because it's. Get it on. Actually, I'll get it on.
Yeah, I'll help you with that.
Thank you for coming in.
There we go.
Appreciate it.
Okay, last commercial is Howard. You're in here
All right.
for no reason.
All right.
Do you have it already?
All right. All right.
Okay, this should be a minute and a half. We're putting in 4 minutes.
Do you have ringside over there, by chance?
What's that?
Do you have ringside over there?
What happened to
Is
ringside?
it right there?
It wasn't there yesterday. I'll get it
I don't know what
on.
happened.
How quickly are we going into
Okay,
this?
I'm going to print another copy in a second because obviously we don't have it here.
It's in between something here. No, nothing.
Is it thrown away? Because that might have been.
Yeah, it must be there.
On Monday's episode of the Hump.
Including Unbreakable's lenses from only $98. The hottest new books, trends,
All right,
and the latest
all right,
fashions
all
are all
right.
here for back to
Cappuccino,
school.
latte,
Hakeem Optical is
avocado,
only saving you money
egg
on
bites, egg
fashionable
bites.
eyewear. Hakeem
What would you like from
Optical-
Starbucks?
No, I'm okay.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Alright, 30 seconds there.
I have my 2 cookies. I'm good.
Hi, I'm Philip Hong.
Philip
All
Hong.
right, let me get ringside on my. That's what I did
You're always
yesterday.
looking for new sponsors.
All right.
Did you know
I had a
that
conversation with
the
him
H&F studio
yesterday,
is
trying to
available
keep him
for
because.
audio
Did you hear this?
recording and production,
I'll tell you.
content,
I
and other
reached
tailored
out to him
solutions
too.
to help bring a professional
Yeah,
touch
he's
to
booking
your
for next
message.
week, right?
Yes.
With years of experience
He's
and a
one
wealth
of
of
my
knowledge in new
millions
media,
of
the
people.
production
Right.
team at Humble and Fred are
He was actually the
here
first
to
person I
serve
booked,
you.
and then
Email us at
obviously
Humble and Fred.
Well,
at
Schwarmer's just coming in to sit in and hang, and then we'll just no, we don't need to move anything, and then we'll just talk about Streak.
Yeah. I've
Like,
got.
Is Humble and Fred.
Okay, well, let's talk about it after.
Yeah. 20.
F for Freddy. He's fruity, tooty, wacky, humble and Freddy. There with you and your Betty. H for name of Wampa and this boy. Boo for bullshit. All right.
It's the Thursday Humble and Fred show. Good to be with you, people of Southern Ontario. This broadcast originating in Toronto through Funny 820 in Hamilton, then around Southern Ontario. That signal's ridiculous. News Talk 1010. Also in Niagara Falls, in Kingston, and
over in Great County.
Yeah.
Yes.
And humbleandfredradio.com. Catch up on past episodes. This country's most uploaded podcast in history. In a moment, podcast Empresario. The new wave of podcast. The industry is in great hands. And we're going to speak to Marcus Timpanillo. How do you pronounce it? You'll explain.
We'll explain.
We'll explain.
Yeah.
First, let's talk Phil. No one knows weed like you.
Absolutely.
When it comes to strain print.
Yes, strain print. Use cannabis better with the free Strain Print Companion app that will help you learn how much more rewarding and beneficial your experience with cannabis can be. It is like the Fitbit of weed. You can track your progress and learn more about how other people and yourself react to certain strains of marijuana, of course. Use cannabis responsibly, of course, but check it out at the Apple or Google Play Store. I was about to say free store.
Strainprint.ca.
Strainprint.ca.
Yes. Our good friend Dr. Elkesh Patel and I were talking some doctor stuff yesterday. I love how. Yeah, I like to. I was talking to him yesterday evening. This is doctor stuff, doc to doc. The fact that he calls me doc is my favorite thing about having him as a client. He does. He's like, "Hey doc, what's up?" I go, "What's up, other doc?" Ringside MD.
ringsideclinic.ca. Talk about their peace of mind plan when you go on there. You can go ahead and give them a quick connect by telephone. You can do an instant chat if you go to ringsideclinic.ca. They actually have in their peace of mind plan forms and notes. So that's most short form notes for school, work, orthotics. Others are included. That can cost you up to $50 just for one of those alone.
Oh, yeah.
That's all included in the peace of mind plan. Also 24/7 access, so you don't have to worry. You can skip the waiting room. Just look at your phone, find out when the best time is, and go, oh, there's no lineup. I'm going to go right there. Also, cosmetic procedures like benign moles with liquid nitrogen, skin tags, all of that is included in their Peace of Mind Healthcare Peace of Mind plan. So go to ringsideclinic.ca. What is that?
Now, please welcome to our program. He is one of my favorite members of the Barker family.
Oh, that's great.
And I admire him for so many reasons. Say hello to Marco Timpano.
Hey, well, thank you.
Put those beautiful hands together.
Mm-hmm.
Now, listen, we're all
Yes.
grown-ups here. There was obviously some nonsense happening on the way in today. I could see it. There was body language issues. You know,
was
there
there?
was frazzled. There was relationship. So what's going on? You guys, you're having your house done. It
That's
never
right.
ends.
It never ends, Howard. It never ends. There's a basket, a laundry basket full of Amanda's shoes.
Yes.
And she can't find her shoes.
Right.
So
Okay, because I can't find the basket, which
So-
it's not normally a basket. It's normally a lovely little place to put your shoes under a bench. Guys, it's all figured out. We are grown-ups. It's
Howard,
not
Amanda
just-
has a lot of shoes.
Oh, really?
Some would say too many shoes.
Interesting,
Some would
because this
say.
woman that I'm involved with, you've met her, GFR, she moved into a new place and she has an entire room. I call it the shoe room.
Ah.
Yeah. You just walk in there and there's racks of this stuff. It's like going into a Bata museum.
Yeah,
But how many minutes from your home are we currently where we sit?
Oh, I don't know. Too many
10?
minutes.
No,
no,
12,
more than that,
15,
more than that.
17?
No, it was like
20?
a half, 30.
30.
30,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're about 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
With no
this,
traffic.
This discussion
Yes.
of the shoes and the basket, that kind of started just like around the corner.
No. She said she asked me this morning, "Where are my shoes?" I'm like, I don't know what what were they?
And I said,
black-
thank God I'm doing this audio book right now, so
Right.
that they don't care what I look like. So I've been going in flip-flops because literally that is all I can find. I only have flip-flops
So,
right now.
was the discussion the entire time here, or did it just flare up?
No,
as
no.
she
It was
run-
when we parked on the
Right.
on the road
and
here.
you realized you're wearing flip-flops.
Yeah, and I looked down and said, "Well, I'm glad I'm wearing flip-flops for the 4th day in a row. They're not even my comfortable ones. I can't find my comfortable ones. They've been absorbed by the paint, I guess."
I mean, they're downstairs. You just got to go downstairs and look, scramble through a few things, find them.
We also run a podcast studio out of our house, remember? So there were people there last night.
Well, we're going to get to that in a second. What's interesting about what you just said is they're not even your comfortable flip-flops. And most men listening are going, you have more than one pair of flip-flops?
Yeah, they're good.
What does that
they're
even
Crocs.
mean?
They're my expensive flip-flops.
Oh, are they?
They're Crocs.
Well, isn't that... Well, and you guys have been together a long time. It's never about the flip-flops, you know. Do you want me to explain
Oh,
the
is this
world?
what this is?
When you're with Queensway's spiritual leader, this is what you take advantage of.
Fair
these.
enough.
see.
But to be honest with you, I think you're making a bigger deal about the shoes than Amanda was because
Possibly.
Oh,
Hey, Marco, I've got
what a
another
sweet-
90 minutes to fill.
Okay,
yeah.
fair enough. Fair enough.
It was a conflict.
Possibly I am.
But I will say this. I know when I go home, I've got to take masks off a tall wall that it's like this is what I hear. We got to take the masks off the wall, which means you've got to take the masks off the wall. I never wanted the masks on the wall to begin with. Now they're on
Exactly.
this high wall, and I've got to figure out how to take the masks off the wall because we've got to take the masks off the wall.
Let's talk about the masks.
Too many
that are
masks.
on the wall.
How many masks does one person
How many
need?
shoes does a mask? Are there? Here's the question: are there more shoes than masks?
No, I think there's more masks than shoes.
What are you talking about, you two?
There are more masks. than
Oh,
shoes.
what are
Okay,
masks?
so in my
Masks.
20s, I need to explain.
I mean, relationship
No,
masks?
masks, scary masks.
Ornamental
She's got
masks.
basically Arya Stark. That's our house.
Wow. I've been to your home. I don't remember the masks.
because they weren't out when you. And then finally, we had 2 huge boxes of masks. And she goes, "I want to put the masks
Okay.
up." And I'm like,
okay. I need to talk about these masks.
"I
So-
live in a voodoo house. I just want you to know that I live
There's like
in
some
a
kind of
voodoo."
ritualistic sacrifices being made. Shoes are being offered to gods.
Here's the deal with the masks. I, in my 20s, was backpacking quite a bit, and because I wanted to be an actor and all these things, every country I would go to, I would buy a mask. Every
and then
country.
rob a convenience store.
And rob a convenience store and do pretty well for myself and continue backpacking. So I have, I think, like 60 or so masks, that many masks. But because that's a lot, I pared them down to 25, 30.
But when she says pare them down, 25, 30 on the wall, the rest in boxes.
Which I'm trying to get rid of, and I'm trying to buns.
That's
True
going to be a
story.
fun garage sale that day.
I'm just giving them to a school or a theater.
Amanda
company.
She
Barker
wants them to go to a
announced-
good
These
home.
are like I do want them to go to a good home. I do.
Barker's
They're like
opening up
$100
masks and
masks.
shoes.
They're like worth. It doesn't matter what they're worth, but a lot of those
So
masks
they're nice
are over
masks.
$100.
They're not
masks.
nice masks. They're not nice
I don't know what
masks.
they are.
They're not.
Anyway, so
Hang on a second.
they're
Let
on
me
a
start
wall.
this whole segment again. Anyhow, so Marco is charged with taking the masks off the wall. This is what I'm hearing.
Because I don't have time.
No one has time.
There you go.
I didn't have time to put them up either, but I finally got them up.
You know, it's just a microcosm of everyone's relationships. I mean, everyone's got shoes and masks, and
Sure.
they got to go to a barbecue with people they don't know.
It's
you know, that's
true.
me. That's my day.
true.
I got to go to barbecue. You know, Rachel's so cute because last night I was talking to her about tonight's event, and you know, I've known her for I guess 20 months now. And I don't know. You know, I think, as you know, I think of myself as a meadow squirrel. I feel I'm just a quiet, you know, just whatever. I don't even know if I'm in the room sometimes. And she says to me, okay, so we're, you know, pick me up at 6. We're just going to go there, and we don't have to stay very long. I'm like, what is it about me? I like, you know, I can stay.
No.
I could stay
You
an
have
hour or two.
8 o'clock. You're not there anymore. I know you. I've gone out
She
with you.
said
You
that, I'm
know.
like, what do you mean?
No.
What if I'm having a great time and people are, you know, vibing with me?
Nope.
Yeah, I know.
It'll
still. Here's the thing.
out.
I'll pick her up at 6. We'll get there at 6:30. It'll still be light when I get out of there.
8:15.
It will. I have no doubt.
Now, here's the great. So, do you, when you guys, now, obviously, people who don't know the backstory, go look it up. And Marco and Amanda worked together. One of the first gigs, they were on a cruise ship for months.
That's right.
So, it was a little bit of a different start to your relationship. But similar to a lot of couples, though, you start to integrate one another's friends.
Right.
Did you, when you first met Amanda, did you have friends that were like, that you didn't want to, that were like, you shouldn't meet these people? Or did she have friends that she didn't want, like, okay, Marco, you won't like them because they're too... or Marco, we'll go there. We won't have to stay too long.
I don't know. She's got a look on her face that she has something.
I have friends that he's like, ugh.
Yeah.
That's
what?
Basically, Mount A people.
Well, I mean, come on. Everyone from Mount A loves
Allison is what they're talking about.
Where I went to university. It's quite a theme this week for me. But
I guess.
Yeah.
No, I like some of your Mount Allison people. Okay.
Yeah.
So don't. All of a sudden, I'm the guy who hates all her friends, and they're gonna be like, they'll see us, and they'll cross their arms when they see me. I went to Mount Allison, and then I'm the one who's on the hot seat.
In my marriage, it was quite evident when I first met ex-wife Randy that some of her friends did not cotton to me.
Oh, really?
And never have.
Really?
Y'all.
No, everyone loves Marco, as far as I know.
What's not to love?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. I mean, listen, it's Marco.
Do any of your friends not like me?
Probably. No. I think they all love you. My mom loves Amanda. She's like, she works so hard. She doesn't ask for much. I'm like, oh my god.
This is true.
Like she's
This
like,
is
my
true.
mom has this whole story about how great Amanda is.
Well, she is great.
She is. She has her moments. Yeah.
And I want you to know, like, if you can't get Marco to make a little bit of an effort and get these masks off the wall, I'll send Sean over.
Marco will always ask me, so I think we've established Marco is of Italian descent.
Yes.
And he will ask me, is this girl pretty or is she munja cake pretty?
Oh my God. Like, what?
Wow.
So-
you are so racist right now.
So, like, there was this girl who had red
Is
hair.
she pretty or is she munja cake
So
pretty?
she had red hair and a bit of a mustache, but I thought she was very pretty. I was like, that girl I think is so pretty. That's the type of girl I wanted to be growing up. I wanted to have that turned up nose, red hair, and maybe a bit of a mustache.
What do you mean a mustache? Like
some
but it's like red, so you can't really see
like
it.
a bleached, like a woman who has a fine hair bleached thing on her lip.
Okay.
I don't know how else to describe that.
So I would be like, she's pretty. Be like, what are you talking about? You're insane to say that.
First of all, she has a mustache. So how does that? Like, listen, if you want to,
that can be a deal breaker for a lot of men.
If
and
you want to
women.
have a mustache and you're a woman, have a mustache. Be proud of it. But that's not going to hit the pretty list in my book.
Anyway, munja cake pretty.
Munja cake
But
pretty,
munja cake
wow.
pretty isn't. I see. I hate that I have to define this because it makes me look so horrible. But you know that all American or all Canadian preppy blonde Reese Witherspoon
Got it.
type.
Yeah.
That's not my type. I think that's very Anglo pretty.
I hear you, man.
Not for me. There's nothing exotic about it. Very plain Jane.
Munja cake pretty.
She probably just lies there. Whatever.
Wow.
Not my thing.
Wow.
Right? What? It's
Listen.
not. Look, that's to me Munja cake pretty. That's how I define
Probably
it.
just lies there.
I
you
mean-
don't know.
Hey.
I said probably.
Yeah, you
probably.
don't. Exactly.
But
Speculation.
like Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah.
She does nothing for me.
Here's the thing about women like Reese Witherspoon, and I'm on your side. 'cause
Who's
I
a
like,
great
I like
producer
dark-
and director.
I-
I'll just plug her there.
We're just doing a bit.
Yeah.
So I like dark, exotic, olive skin Rachel. When I see someone like munja cake pretty, as you describe it, I would say, oh, she's really hot. If only she had dark hair.
There you
know
go.
what I mean? There's several women that I admire in their physical presence. Again, I don't see gender, but if I did, I always think, oh, if she were just a little bit, she had a darker skin and darker hair.
Now you have a new term for it. She's munja cake pretty.
Yeah.
Here's the thing too.
I wonder if Jews do that. Oh yeah, she's goyim pretty. She's pretty for a goy.
Would people
pretty
understand
fly
that?
for a white goy. Literally, I've never put those words together, but I will. What were you saying, sir?
Oh, now I don't remember.
I
That was
doesn't
too
even
funny.
matter.
That was. It doesn't matter.
Speaking of which, can I just? Marco's here. We're just going to establish some Marco presence because I wanted to bring up something. First of all, but I'm going to get to this in a second. I did something I almost never do on Netflix last night. Is a documentary came up, and I'm like, I don't know who that person is, but maybe I should, and I'll explain in a moment. But that person that I'm going to be talking about is with somebody who's very famous, Kylie Jenner.
Yes.
And I'm gonna. I don't. It wasn't until just recently, and I mean like last night and this morning when I was looking at it up online, I had any idea how famous the person who's with Kylie Jenner is. He's a rapper that you've never heard of named Travis Scott. Anyway, great documentary. So Before I get to that, though, I want to talk about Marco's podcast business.
Oh, thank you.
Marco has, it's called the Insomnia Project.
Yes.
And the other one is Every Place is the Same.
Yes.
And the other one is I'm Friends with Ali Hassan. I think that's what the name of that one is.
Eat and Drink.
Eat and Drink
is the other name.
How and we talked a little bit about this the other day in terms of some people don't. Our friend Earl Epstein and my buddy Jeff Lumby, they're perfectionists. Not that you're not, but I've been telling them for a couple of years, just do something. And I always use you, and I should tell you this, not just on the show I said this, but in conversations with them, I always point to you. I said, listen, I know this guy, Amanda's husband. He had an interest in something, and he did this podcast with an idea of, well, I'm interested in this, and if somebody else is, great. Was that the impetus for you to start the first one? I believe was the Insomnia Project.
That's right. So I've suffered from insomnia, and so I found that there wasn't a podcast for me. There was a insomnia podcast called Sleep With Me that's very popular. It's huge, but it didn't work for me. Guys, great, whatever. So I'm like, I'm going to make the podcast that I would want for myself, and certainly there's going to be people who it'll resonate with, who have the same sort of insomnia, and they want that kind of feel.
And your insomnia, we were talking about it. Like mine is, and I have it almost every night. I fall asleep great.
Yes.
And somewhere in the middle of the night, I come to awake, and then I'm fully awake.
Yep.
On work days, I can be awake at 4 o'clock, and that's the end of my sleep.
Sure.
On the weekends, that'll happen to me, and I'll fall back to sleep eventually. What is your version?
I get that. I certainly get that type, which is like, for me, it's like I'm asleep, and then like that, I'm awake. It's almost not like a slow awake. It's like I'm startled awake, and then I can't sleep. Or I'll go to bed, and I'll be ready to fall asleep, and then it just won't come. It just won't come over me. It won't.
Which I think is more typical. And so your Insomnia Project podcast helps with that how?
Well, for me, so oftentimes I would use television to help me fall asleep, which a lot of people do. But if I'm watching a program that all of a sudden it has even a little bit of excitement, or a little bit like I want to wait till the end, I won't sleep. So I used to watch the Martha Stewart show, because she'd bake a pie, she'd fix a chair, she'd plant a cactus. I knew how it was going to end. So I could watch it, and she was never going to raise her voice. She was going to do it perfectly. But at the end of the day, if I fell asleep, I didn't miss anything, because she made a perfect pie, she built a perfect chair, and she had a perfect cactus, right? So for me, it was this. Have a conversation where it's not so interesting that the person is so engaged with it, but if they stay up, they're calm. We're talking about doors. We're talking about koi fish. Nothing that's really going to speak to anybody unless you're really into doors, koi fish, or paintings.
So your very first one was what? You reading a story about koi fish, or what?
No, talking to someone who had koi fish.
Just
and just
conversation,
yeah. So
it was you call somebody.
No, I have someone live. I want to have you on the show now that I have a studio.
We've established that you want to have a person on the show, and yet that person is never part of the show.
Fair enough.
What are you doing today?
Yeah, this afternoon.
I can be booked at the last second because I'm just doing nothing.
Next week. We'll book you next
I'm
week.
busy next week, too.
We will definitely work it out. But the whole point of it is we have a casual conversation about something that's not so fascinating.
Mm-hmm. So what was your first one? Do you remember?
I think it was clouds and marshmallows.
So, and how long did it last?
26 minutes, because 26 minutes is the perfect time for a short nap. So if you sleep less than 26 minutes, you don't get all
You don't get quite enough.
Right.
And so if somebody were to wake up in the middle of the night, let's say this morning I woke up at... My new thing now, though, is I used to look over and see what time it was, and that would begin this thing where I go, okay, it's 3:15. If I fall back to sleep now...
4 hours sleep. I can
so
do it.
now my new thing is I'll wake up, and if I have to go to the washroom, I specifically don't look at the time. Like I did this morning. I woke up, I knew it was in the middle of the night. Stan and I switched, cuddling spots. Stan's my dog, but if he wasn't, don't judge. So, but I don't look at the clock, and I knew that at some point, and I don't know when it was, I fell back to sleep. But so is the idea I just pop in the Insomnia Project and just...
Yeah, just a random episode. If there's one that you think you might be like, oh, this might keep me up, then don't listen to that one. Listen to the one about folding clothes, and you just kind of listen and know that if you don't fall asleep during it, you'll at least be calm. Your body will feel a bit rested, but you have no reason to stay up for it.
Yeah, and it's not just. I think a lot of people may know that as you age, you seem to need less sleep. And older people, one of their main, older elderly people, one of their main complaints is that they just don't ever feel rested, because the odd time that I did, like at the cottage one day, I slept all the way through the night, and at 6:30 in the morning, I was sort of stirring, and I said to Rachel, should we get up now? And somehow or another, we both fell back to sleep for a couple more hours.
Oh, nice.
And when I woke up at 8:45, I'm like, is this what people feel like
Yeah.
when they've had enough sleep? Because I said, I'm a pretty cheery person, but I'm extra cheery right now because your body feels different.
Yeah. Getting that rest really does a lot for the body and for the person. And for those people who don't suffer from lack of sleep, they don't fully
get it.
Yeah, and people who suffer from lack of sleep, when they do get proper sleep, they're like, oh, this is what it feels like.
Absolutely. Even that kind of nap when you get the proper, like I'll just lay down for 20, 25 minutes and you actually go to sleep, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And so you do the insomnia, you do the Every Place is the Same,
Yes, we're
which
starting
is amazing.
Season 3 is starting.
You do the and when you say you have a podcast studio in your home, now I've been there. Is it that sort of setup you have in the basement?
Yeah.
And are you still doing that character too?
We're thinking about doing it in the fall. Yeah.
But it's been renoed actually since since our time with Chris Emmanuel last summer. So it's different from when you, I think, would have been there.
So your newest project is Amanda's Masks, and where they're from is that?
They're scary masks.
Scary masks.
And getting them down the wall so Chris Brown can paint that patch.
Yeah.
Where's my shoe?
But to your point, your friend's not starting their podcast.
Yes, that was my point.
There's
yes.
never a perfect time.
I
know. Like it's kind of like either you do it or you don't.
Right.
And the moment you do it, whether it's perfect or not, and it's never going to be perfect, it's the momentum that's going to carry you through. But if you sit back saying, I'm going to wait till every I is dotted, every T is crossed, the bow is perfect, it's never going to happen.
I agree. And not just broadcasters, almost anyone that ruminates too long about it. And again, I'm sure your first ones were good, but not like they are now.
Exactly.
You have to But the bottom line for me is always, are you interested in it? And that's enough.
Yeah.
It's like, I said to Amanda yesterday, there was a point somewhere along the line about when I was coming back doing stand-up that I thought, I just want to now do stuff that I truly think is funny, not what I think they'll think is funny. Because there's a difference.
I agree.
And it's the same with podcasting. Like I really... today's our last Humble and Fred show. We're going to be off for the long weekend. But tomorrow, I get all excited. I'm going to get up. I get up Friday morning, and I come down here, and I do my little golf podcast. Mm-hmm. And it's a different kind of anticipation than when I come down here for the Humble and Fred show. I've got the Humble Howard sort of, what am I, what fits into that paradigm. But the golf thing is just Howard Glassman geeking out.
Yeah.
All the things I've been thinking about golf this week, and I guess get to do it. And to tell you the truth, we've done over 100 episodes. Mm-hmm. And if no one had ever heard it, I still would like to do it.
I did one last night, friends of ours, called We Like Theme Parks. And it's these 3 theme park nerds that get together and talk about theme parks.
Love it.
And I went in because we've eaten at every single restaurant in Disney Springs. So I went in and had this whole, they did a deep dive on the restaurants. That's so wildly specific. But when you make it specific, you make it universal.
And I totally agree with that. But it's not just specificity. Is that the word?
Sure.
Specification?
It's not just that. Is
Specificity?
there somebody else at the door? Is this another guest?
Oh, this is my Starbucks.
Oh, beautiful.
Let's get her in. Can you see if she wants to come in?
We only have a minute.
Oh, okay.
It's not just about specificity. It's about what I just said about would you do it?
You just take it.
Would you do it even if no one was going to hear it?
Yes.
And that's what
Yes. And you know what? People love passion. People might not love golf, but they love to hear someone who's passionate about it. And I bet your podcast on golf, even if you're not a big golf fan, if you listen to it, you would love it because you just hear that geeky passion that you have for something you love.
Well, and that's the thing is that I keep saying to my buddy Lumby, who loves dogs, I go, just do it. Do your thing. It doesn't have to be great quality, and it could be somebody's on. Like I do interviews with people every Friday from all over the world, and sometimes the quality's good on Skype or Zoom or whatever. Sometimes it's on the phone and it's just half-assed, but it's the content. And again, we only have a few hundred people that listen to it, but I don't care. I love doing it. We got to take a break. Marco's here. We're going to talk to the Wholesome Foods. I Love You. Is That Okay? Another great web series. and we're gonna see about some other stuff.
Sure.
Okay, it's Humble and Fred Radio, humbleandfredradio.com, and of course around the province on Canada's comedy superstation, Funny 820. We'll be right back. You guys are good.
Yeah.
Really good.
I did not know.
I know there's some
What do
people
I do
that,
right now? Is this Uber? I don't know.
that's
It's
what it
Uber?
is. Just like
I've never had
Come on.
I don't get that on.
It's hipster week.
Why isn't he?
Oh, what's going on?
He's not.
Are we early?
We're right on. He's not. He's not hitting the commercial.
Come on, Kyle.
Come on, Kyle. Kyle. There we go. Lots of funny people can't do this. Lots of performers can't do this, and we've seen it. We bring people in promoting whatever, and they just can't have a conversation. They can't roll with it. They're too concerned about okay, where is this going to go? Versus you guys being improvisers. You're just comfortable knowing it's going to go somewhere. The train's going to go. It'll fucking go.
It's also daunting to sit here if you're not used to this with a lot of people. When it's you want to just connect with the host, right? And then it's who's this guy next to me? What's this guy typing away here? It's
I know it's a bit distracting.
Yeah,
but
you do a great job of connecting with the person. When you look at me, all this kind of disappears, and it's
But you guys gonna make out?
Focus.
I should.
Oh, excuse me. I said the same thing about you. You're a fucking angel. And I would
I
make
wouldn't
out
have a
with
problem you guys making out.
I'll make out with Marco.
Fill your boots. I got some eggs to eat.
What is that? Oh, that's applesauce. Oh, it's avocado.
No, it's definitely not
It
applesauce.
looked like applesauce.
Do you want some?
No. So let's get your friend. What is the deal with that?
So Krista and Connie.
So the producer who's in from LA and winning all these awards, and Connie is a good friend of mine, and she's in it.
All right. Well, so we're gonna need you. So you
I'm
go
happy to
back
jump
to
up.
the
I'm happy to
couch,
jump up.
like Merv. This is the old Merv Griffin show, and then
Love it.
You come back in. It'll
What
be
was Merv
beautiful.
like?
I don't mind. Yeah.
All right.
Shawnee, I guarantee you we're going to talk to you on this program. In the last half hour is going to be some great Sean Sargent stuff.
Okay then.
Do you want, babe? Do you want the other one of these? Sure. Hi. Let's get you guys seated. Sorry, I'm sitting here eating my breakfast. So we'll get one of you there, one of you there.
Okay. Where do you want to sit, Krista?
Okay, Sean, guys, get it. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second here. I want to get. Hello. I'm Howard.
Hi, Howard. Krista.
What a lovely pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Hi, I'm Connie.
You seem very nice too.
We've met.
Yes. I'm sick.
Krista, originally from Waterloo.
Yes. That's how we say it.
Well, wow.
Wendy's, and I want to kind of make sure.
Did I read you were? I have to put this back in front of me. Did I read you're a child actor? Is that true?
Yes.
Is that how you know Daniel?
That's very close.
That's perfect.
No.
He can turn it up and turn it
No,
down. So perfect. That's
met through
perfect
his
right there.
ex-girlfriend.
Oh no way.
Yeah.
I feel like I know everybody else in this.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Yeah.
Krista. Krista Hovespear.
Hosepia. Oh, that's a fun name.
You can look into some people's face and just get their face tells you that they're nice. You guys have nice faces, both of you. Both of your faces.
I think we're nice people.
I'm looking right in your faces. I don't even see gender, as you know. I'm so woke. But
I can tell. I look at your face and I see woke.
well, my Netflix special that I'm thinking of is called Old, Woke, period. And
I'm here for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So Hovespear.
Hosepia.
I'm gonna do that because I'm legendarily horrible.
It's rare that people get it right.
Hosepia.
Hosepia.
Just
ignore
no
the
B.
B. Just ignore it. Take it right out.
That B is gone. So I grew up in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan.
Okay.
And then found myself in the middle '80s living in North Hollywood.
Okay.
And as you know, that sort of it's quite the change.
It is. Yeah.
Going from the prairies to North Hollywood,
Yeah.
and it's interesting. I think it gives you a different perspective. I think about LA, and I've always wanted to live in New York. That's my favorite city in the world. But there's a different thing in LA. It seems like LA is all people from other places to me.
Yes.
And there's for the most, yeah. It's almost like Toronto sometimes. You almost never. You said this yesterday. Finally meeting somebody, you know, who's not actually from who actually grew up here.
Right.
But for a long time in the 90s, they used to make fun of the people on Queen Street who all wanted to, you know, exert their individuality by dressing exactly the same.
Yep.
Well, you know, people that move here from, you know, from North Bay who want you to think they were born at Queen and John. You know what I mean? It's
I was
like
born in Saskatchewan.
Where were you?
Regina.
Regina is the capital of the province.
Yes.
Do you know that?
I didn't know you were from Regina.
Well, I lived there till I was 4.
Okay.
And then we moved to Windsor, so
Got it.
Okay.
grew up in Windsor,
Yeah, okay.
Ontario. So I'm a county girl.
I'm from Boston, but I'm also from New Brunswick.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now
we
I'm from
rock.
here. I'm from here. Yeah, I'm 20 years.
Welcome back, everybody. Amanda Barker sitting in for Fred. Freddie's still in Ireland, I guess, in his next stop. Do you know if he's going to Scotland and
He's
then?
going to Liverpool next.
Oh, right, he's in Liverpool
Yeah, he's going to go
tomorrow.
do the Abbey Road tour.
Right. Okay. We're going to talk to a couple of our new friends here in a second about a very cool web series. First, let's talk about a very cool company, Clear Air Solutions, Amanda.
ClearAirSolutions.com. Listen, I'm going to just start with this. They have financing available. So even if you're not sure if now's the time, I'm going to go ahead and say now is the time. They work in hospitals, schools, businesses, and of course, residences. They do residential and commercial ventilation cleaning. So maybe you need this for your work. Are you worried there's asbestos at work? They're the people to call. They are the official mold remediation company of H&F, so for mold as well, and that's a big problem for a lot of people, but they also deal with asbestos abatement, including vermiculite. ClearAirSolutions.com for your house, for your work, for your cottage. Give them a call.
Phyllis, if I were to want to go to, 190 countries and just port my data plan and not have to get all, up in some phone company's business, what would I do?
Well, I would use GigSky. In fact, I'm living proof of GigSky being useful because I've been to countries like Cambodia, Malaysia, Singapore, Taiwan, or as we call it, Republic of China. GigSky has a new GigSky has a new world plan for eSIMs on the iPhone XS, XS Max, XR. And in fact, having one data plan for each of the 190 countries you'll visit is one of the easiest things ever, and it's very affordable as well. And coming soon, Google Pixel eSIM customers will also get that deal. There's also the 800 megabyte one-day plan, a savior when you're at the airport trying to find that Uber. As well, HF500 is our discount code. If you want to buy a plan that's $20 or more, you get $5 off. That's GigSky, GigSky.com, HumbleandFredRadio.com for a special deal.
All right, thank you, Phyllis. I'm not 100% sure where to start with all of this. Our two guests this morning are involved in a web series called Wholesome Foods, I Love You, Is That Okay? But there's so much more to it. It's an all-Canadian and Toronto cast. Please welcome two of the participants, creators, and what a pleasure to have both of them in the studio. Connie Wang and Krista Hosepian, everybody.
Yay!
Everybody's excited about them being in the studio because they're friends of Amala. I just want to get right to this because this, first of all, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for
I've already established with you two that both of your faces are very pleasant. That you have, as the Queensway spiritual leader, it's important I let you know that, because maybe you were walking around going, I wonder how my face works. Your face is working just fine.
I was wondering. I just got in from Tokyo last night too, so I'm wondering if my face is even like on my body right now. Like,
Amazing.
where am I? What day is it?
This life you are leading,
I know.
Krista. And Connie, I just want to talk. We'll talk about what Wholesome Foods is in terms of a web series. But I just read something, and I want to sort of start with it. And that is, Krista, the cast and crew, because it's in the notes, so I'm going to talk about it. 17 female characters, female DPs, operators, female directors, female producers, and so on. And so, before what it is, that must have been important to you to make this specifically to give opportunity to others of your gender.
Yeah, absolutely.
And some people might say, "Whoa, why? What about the white men? What are we gonna do? Where's our place?
What are they gonna do?
Yeah,
those white men.
We're the white guy."
I mean, we worked with some white men. We did, we didn't exclude them from the process.
But you made a point of specifically, it seems to me, or did you? Is this?
I did. In terms of writing the characters, absolutely. I've been an active member of Women in Film in Toronto and LA for years. I've served on the Toronto Actor Women's Committee. So I'm always involved in these conversations about like how do we increase visibility within the industry. I grew. I mean, my acting coach as a child was like a staunch feminist as well, and I grew up with a lot of like thespian women who were always like, okay, how do we change things? How do we make progress in the industry? So I've been having these conversations for a really long time, and I think part of that is also increasing visibility for women of color, people of color, creators of color as well, looking at different people who are members of the LGBTQ community, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Just like increasing diversity on the whole. So I knew in creating the series that I wanted to really carve out space for something beyond the white male perspective. I think also as a woman, it's like, why wouldn't I?
Exactly. I was going to say that. Why not write? Like, why not create from where you live?
Yeah. And it was an interesting process too, because when we did our first table read and I had everyone sit down with the script, the feedback that I got was that Daniel DeSanto's character Marco seemed a little one-dimensional compared to all of the women. And I was like, okay, great. I don't want to create a character like that, but also interesting that as women, we feel like most women written by men and created by men have been one-dimensional for a really long time. It makes sense, right? I'm not in a dude's head.
Hollywood is famous for, this whole category of wife-girlfriend roles in big, significant movies.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as you might like The Godfather, Diane Keaton is fairly, an adjunct to the main activity.
An abortion, Michael. An abortion. It was an abortion.
I mean,
yes.
Higher pitch. An abortion,
you're talking. By the way, that's a
Acting.
quote from the movie, and not a review of The Godfather 3.
Abortion, Michael.
Yeah, that was a not review of Sofia Coppola's. Connie Wang is here, and Connie, I guess, first of all, maybe you can tell us what this series is and what your role in it is.
Well, this is Krista's series.
No, I understand.
I'm
now trying. I'm just trying to
actor in this series,
yes,
right?
Yes.
I'm
Okay,
trying
great.
to include you now in this conversation.
Thank you.
You've been an integral part of the journey. You've been on board for a long time.
Yes, so I'm an actor in the series. And so the series is about a woman who finds love and just her journey through food and yoga and spirituality and just.
So, hold on a second. I'm just trying to. I think I did something wrong here. I can't figure out what it was.
What, is her mic not?
Yeah, it's hold on.
Do you want her to pick up the
No,
hand?
check it. No.
Hello.
No, her mic's fine.
Okay, great.
Go ahead, Connie. Keep
Hello.
talking. Yeah, your mic is
Put
fine.
the other one down. Yeah, you're fine.
This is good?
No,
Yeah.
Is your mic on?
Hi.
Yeah, no, I can hear it.
I can hear it.
Just
I can
put
hear
that just in front of your mouth a little bit.
There we
So
go.
yeah, you're a
Okay.
yoga teacher, and this is it? It's Wholesome Foods. It's not Whole Foods.
Right. It's Wholesome Foods.
So what's that about?
We initially wanted it to be Whole Foods I Love You. Is that okay? And I have a friend whose sister works in marketing for Whole Foods in the UK. So she put us in touch with their team, and they were like, we love the concept. We love supporting artists. We don't feel great about having you shoot in our stores.
Right.
I figured we'd probably have to do like a bunch of night shoots, but even that didn't work for them. And at the time, they were like, we also don't love that we're a family brand and it's a love story, because we don't want any customers to be deterred from shopping at the store in case they feel like threatened by the prospect of being hit on. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that's why most of us shop there. Like, I think we're all like going to meet somebody.
Is that true? Is that what happens in Whole? I mean, I'm familiar with Whole Foods and stores like Pusateri's, little high-end shopping
Right.
places, or Farm Boy. Is that part of the allure of these places, to go there, dress up, maybe meet somebody, pay $19 for a mango, that kind of thing?
I think, especially in LA, a lot
Really?
of my friends and I are like, oh, I'm pretty sure I'm going to meet my next partner at Whole Foods, or Erewhon is like the other store there. It's like a boutique.
What about Trader Joe's? No?
People who love Trader Joe's love Trader Joe's.
Yeah, they do.
I'm not a huge fan of Trader
You're not a
Joe's.
TJ fan?
Not
No?
a huge
How
fan.
come?
I just don't find that there's really anything that I want to buy there.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So if
No,
so what is the series? Is the series about looking for love and
Yeah.
the
So,
interactivity of people in wholesome foods?
Yeah, it's about a neurotic yoga teacher who spends most of her time at Whole Foods. She's there every day, as we do, those of us in the community. I go pretty much every day to get fresh food, get stuff from the hot bar. And
Yeah, that hot bar is insane.
it's so good.
That first time I went, I didn't realize that I thought all these things are so good, and I took it to the cash, and I didn't realize they were charging me by the pound.
Right.
And it had like $60 worth of like potatoes.
$60.
You know.
You did the high mass.
Oh
items.
yeah.
That's potatoes, the worst.
And some other stir-fried vegetables.
Yeah.
Chicken.
You got to do the mescaline mix. Start with that as your base.
As the base.
Yeah.
Fill it
and
up.
then
Funny.
throw in the protein.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and she has this sort of like this little world in this supermarket, right? She knows the cashiers. She has friends. She's got a friend who like, there's one character, Cartwright. He went to Harvard on a badminton scholarship, and his dad passed away, so he deferred his thesis work for a year, and he just kind of hangs out in the parking lot. He's friends with people at Whole Foods. He like writes poetry and rhymes in the lot, and our characters do like a goofy little rap together.
Is when you hear, I think when I first heard Amanda was doing that Gay Victorian Affair web series, what I thought, well, what does that really mean? You know, not in the larger sense, but is shooting a web series any different than shooting a non-web series? It's somebody has to produce it. There's lights, there's grips, there's stuff.
Yeah.
It's a production.
It is.
But is it funded similarly? Do you know
To
what I mean?
a series?
Well,
Like to-
you got to pay. All these bills need to be paid by some.
Right.
But so going in though, is there a fund? Do you get it? Fund? Do you raise money? I'm sorry to dwell on money, but I'm just curious.
It's important to talk about it. I think it depends on the series, right? Like we talk about the web series world kind of being the wild, wild west right now.
Mhm.
Side note, we love the Gay Victorian
Yes,
Affair
we do.
team.
Thank you.
It's the best.
Thank you.
We've been going to festivals together and
Yeah.
supporting
Yeah.
each other.
I know, they've been
and
together.
They're just like
In
the
Minneapolis,
greatest. Speaking
I
of
think,
like
next month.
Minnesota.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Minnesota,
we were
yeah.
just in Miami together. You guys
That's
just
great.
screened in Seoul too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so for us, we ran a Kickstarter campaign.
Okay.
We crunched the numbers on the cost value after the fact. We have like a $250,000 series on our hands that we shot for 15,000 Canadian.
Totally.
And a lot of that was, Daniel and I went to film school. We called in a lot of favors. We've worked for free for many years for
Yeah.
a lot of people. So, it was kind of like, do you want to help us out? I think also for me, just talking about the series as we were going into production, most of the people involved asked to get involved.
Nice.
Or like Connie and I, we'd known each other for a few years and had wanted to work together. Same with Samara Stern. We'd wanted to work together for like 7 years. And ACTRA actually has a pretty cool setup where they have a co-op agreement, and we can form like a collective and become shareholders in the project. So if it does make money, the union takes care of everything,
Yeah.
but everyone waives their fee
Right,
going
because
into
the
it.
people you have in that series and the one that Amanda's involved with, they're some pretty heavy actors and actresses. And,
Yeah.
and I love the idea that people will help one another out because, it's like on the way to whatever, there's a lot of time spent learning your craft and being part of things, and I think it's a great community of people. Do you? And again, this is my last question about money. Is there a hope when you do something like this to make money back at some point, or is it just for the love of the game and creating becomes a thing unto itself?
I think there's always a hope to make money. Yeah. I think it can be a little bit tricky with web series because a lot of people don't really know what it is or how to monetize at this point.
Right.
And like streaming fees are, I think like you're up on Amazon and you get like 6 cents per 90 minutes streamed or something. It's kind of like Spotify, right? Like where artists are just not being well taken care of, but also we do want to get the work out there and reach the people who can benefit from it, right? So I think ideally using this series as kind of like a proof of concept to go and pitch to platforms that have money to either develop into something else or develop something new, create a second season is the ideal path.
And also a great point, because sometimes you need to prove that you can produce something to show people to produce other things to give you money for bigger and bigger production.
Exactly.
I see it as an investment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people that worked on the show would have seen it as well. WFILY.com, wholesome foods, I love you, ... Is that okay? ? Fantastic.
Is it okay?
We'll find out. Watch it and find out.
Yeah, that's it's interesting, that concept of a grocery store has changed so much.
Yeah.
Like I'm a very old person. I was born in the 1960s.
It's not that old.
Oh yeah, Connie.
It's not.
Connie. Krista. I used to go to the co-op with my mom.
Oh my God, the co-op.
The co-op in Moose Jaw.
Yes, I go to a co-op in Santa Monica.
Not like the Moose Jaw co-op.
It's not the Moose Jaw co-op.
There are people, they came in there with no shoes. Anyway.
The co-op. The co-op.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You didn't have co-ops in Regina? We
no
did in
idea
New
what you're
Brunswick. We had the co-op.
But the point is the grocery experience has changed. I just found out about Farm Boy like 3 months ago, and now I go there every day. It's because it's close to me.
You go there every day?
Well, when I shop, which isn't very often.
Okay, but when you do,
my shopping experience now is this. Well, it's a Whole Foods like experience.
Yes,
and that has changed the nature of shopping. The idea that people go there to maybe, perhaps meet somebody. How does that even work? Is it one of those things where you're like, what do you think of the kale here? It seems fresh. Is that how it?
Well, I mean, I think in LA specifically at Whole Foods and Erewhon, they have like cafe areas kind of set up, right? And like the store that my friends and I mostly shop at, their hot bar is like behind a sneeze guard. They serve you like it's it's this whole experience, right? And everybody's just kind of hanging out. Like there are samples. It's also like beach town culture, right? Like people show up in their like bikinis and thongs and whatever walking to the supermarket.
Because that's how I go to Farm Boy,
right?
in my bikini and my
your thong.
In March. It's always surprising.
Wow.
Yeah. Very, very Canadian.
Yeah. That first spring day.
Yes.
Here I am.
Oh, that's right.
In my thong.
This is what they do in LA.
I heard I'm not sure, a friend of mine did a bit about how Canadians, the biggest lie is that spring is March 21st.
Yes.
We're like, it's spring, and it's shoveling snow for another month, but it's
few more storms.
Wow, what a pleasure to meet you two. Connie Wang, thanks for making the effort to come in here. Krista Hosepian, amazing. We wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you.
If there's, is there a thing after wishing you the best? Well, whatever that is, I wish that upon you. You have the blessing of Queensway Spiritual Leader.
Thank you. I mean,
the thing I just made up like 20 minutes ago to start calling myself.
I fed some otters yesterday. I think maybe that's a step up from like being spiritually blessed. I fed some otters.
In Tokyo?
Is that a euphemism?
In Tokyo. Nope. I fed otters. I held chinchillas. I held a hedgehog. They do everything there. I think that's like, we wish you the best and hope that you feed an otter.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
You know, I should put out some. We should do a series of cards.
Yeah.
All the best. Touch an otter.
May you hold a hedgehog.
May your life be filled with nothing but happiness and otter petting.
And a small hedgehog that you can hold in your hand.
Yes.
A hedgehog
without hurting.
that calls you friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'd take it. I'd take that.
I would take it.
WFILY.com. all the otter goodness upon both of
Thanks,
you.
guys. Thanks for coming in.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
coming
much.
in. And now, well, usually I'll prep a guest by saying there's going to come a moment where I'll say thanks for coming in, and you won't know if you should get up and go away. Are they still talking? Usually I tell people in advance this awkward moment is coming, but this is that awkward
This is
moment.
okay. Perfect. That's very on brand for us.
Yay! Or if all else fails, we just start applauding.
And Sean will take some photos of you. We'll
Sean
get
will
some
take
photos.
pictures.
Yeah.
Phil's coming back.
Thank you, though, again.
yeah.
And good luck with it, honestly.
Oh, my gosh.
Good luck with
All
it.
the better luck and the best luck. And the otters.
And the hedgehogs.
People, people nice.
People are nice. People are inherently good.
I think so.
I believe it. I have to believe it. I have to believe it.
Yeah,
You know?
well, this is a nice crew.
They
This is
are
a nice
nice.
crew.
Yeah. Connie and I, we worked together at the old Jigsaw.
Connie,
Yeah.
you're Jigsaw too?
I am.
Did-
Well, I haven't been late.
Did you work with my kid when she was there?
No, she
Oh,
wouldn't
okay.
have. Yeah.
So my kid's doing what she's Spencer's in her second year at George Brown, taking film. All her and her friends all work on each other's productions.
Yeah.
They're doing stuff. Everyone's gigging on. Maybe you're gripping on one, and you're doing so all that. I
Yeah.
love all that.
Yeah.
And the fact that it gets her out of my hair. All right. Well, that was cool.
Yeah, they're nice, right?
Yeah, man.
People are good.
And so that series that you were in, the Gay Victorian Affair,
It's doing all those festivals
so
with them.
so that you go and you take it to these festivals, there's screenings with the hope that somebody will see it.
Yeah, there's a few things for us. We did the same fundraising thing, and then we got some private donors. It's really picked up in that community, so it's from the support of that of the LGBTQIA community, who's really boosting us into a second season. So we're shooting again, I think in January. Yeah.
Now, is it similar to that model? I feel like
Yeah. Is it similar to the Kickstarter kind of thing?
Yeah, where you
Yeah,
and
the first time it was. Yeah.
But did you get paid to do that thing?
No,
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 just
no.
do it up.
No, you get to a point where you're like, listen, I've done so many Walmart commercials. I need to do something else.
And it's also good for your acting muscle. And
Listen, I got an award for doing it. I don't get that from being the cashier at the Real Canadian Superstore commercial, although may it play and play.
Yeah,
and
may it play and
they're
play.
great spots. Those
Yes,
are
they
great
are.
spots. But
and you're great in them.
thank you.
Mhm.
But you want to do other stuff.
Yeah.
You that's the dream, right? To do that stuff.
And so, yeah, very interesting. I like all that stuff. I like people that. Again, we were talking
like
about
podcasting.
Well, taking
Yeah.
a chance. Like everyone, thinks they can do it, or they have a hankering or an idea, but not very many people actually do it.
That's just it.
And yeah, sure, you're all in the business. We're all in this business, but I apply that to other people's lives who aren't in the performing arts. But a lot of people hesitate, and then they turn out to be 70 years old and go, "Man, I wish I'd have done that thing."
Well, as our friends pass one by one,
Yes.
like dominoes, you just think, okay, do it now. You don't know what kind of time you have on this planet, folks.
Well, and that's the thing. I've had this discussion with Freddie P a bunch of times. And I said to him, just jokingly one day, he was talking about, he always had wished that he had maybe learned how to play the guitar. And I said,
do it now.
it's not too late.
Yeah.
But a lot of people go, well, then I have to do, and then I have to go. And then you start seeing it as this whole thing. And then you sort of edit yourself and go, well, I could never do that, or I don't want to do that, or I don't have time to do that. And in the end, it's even just like the doing of it. You may not, you just give it a shot, because you never know when you'll stumble upon something that you are incredibly into.
Yeah.
But if you don't try, you'll never know.
It also keeps you young and keeps everything fun. And there's nothing worse, and I can guarantee this is the same in radio, because I know it's true in the other ends of the entertainment business. There is nothing worse than a person whose entire life is that, because that is fleeting. It always is.
Yeah.
So the actor that isn't on the series anymore, or isn't getting called in anymore, the radio guy that got let go, those are the most bitter people if they don't have those guitar lessons, that sommelier certificate, that dog thing, whatever that is. If you don't have a life outside of that, it ain't going to be much of a life, period, because all of your hopes, dreams, and happiness is hinged on a thing that ultimately is fleeting. Buddha.
No, exactly.
That's a quote from the Buddha, sort of.
Well, a colleague of mine as the Queensway spiritual leader, I get it all. I see it. Listen, man, great to be with you, Amanda Barker. She's going to hang in for one more segment. Marco's hanging around. Did he get something to eat? Is he better now?
I just give him a coffee, but
All
he
right.
is he's different when he's caffeinated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
He really is.
We're going to get Marco to come back. We got all kinds of stuff. Sean Sargent's been, he was off yesterday, back today. We got a lot of stuff. Sean in the news and some science, all of it on the way. And, of course, Phil Hong will be telling us about the best ofs, Humble and Fred, tomorrow and Saturday, hosted by Phil. Humble and Fred Radio on Funny 820 and around the world at humbleandfredradio.com.
All the trouble I see. Yes, Lord. Life's a
I hit Q on one of her mics and it just all threw me for a second.
Oh, I see.
And I couldn't figure out what I had done. I just know I touched the wrong button for a second.
I see.
Oh, they were great.
They're sweet. Yeah,
really
see,
sweet.
so I don't know Krista at all.
She was great.
But Connie I know. So when they pitched it to me, I said, listen, I can put you in on a day when I don't have anyone.
Well, and also it's easier when I'm here.
Yeah.
Chamber plan, Phil, Sherpa, woman.
You want me to do the woman's day?
Sherpa woman.
Also, every now and then, I always kind of look at what our demo is of what we're bringing in, just so if anyone comes back at me that I only bring in, old white men or whatever, I can tell them they are wrong.
Very true. Very true. I gave you a pink pen because I thought if you're drawing hearts, you might as well.
I appreciate it. Pink graduated me to S's and sailboats, so there you go. Sailboat times.
Oh dear.
Every morning got
the ink doing work, I guess.
All the trouble I've seen.
Oh yes.
What do you want to do, Sean? Which one should I throw to you? I'd love to hear you talk to me about. I saw that story about quantum teleportation.
Okay.
I mean, if I could request. And Marco, can you come back, please?
Let me just.
You can bring your coffee.
I drank it. Now I feel better.
Let me just, sporadically become a quantum physicist here.
This is Pornhub thing.
I'll talk about that one too.
I say you could probably teleport yourself to Mount Chicago.
Matthew McConaughey is teaching at.
He's a professor.
Where?
The University of
Texas, somewhere in Dallas, I'm assuming.
Or San Antonio.
Teaching acting, I'm assuming.
Screen to film.
Interesting.
Which makes sense for an actor, right?
Something like that. It's something having to do with the behind the scenes of film.
Film on a screen?
Screenwriting to film, and film to screenwriting, or something like that. Close enough. I have to ask my research. I do.
It's not 4 years ago.
What's that murder mystery today?
Howard, you killed me when you said it's not a review of The Godfather. I laughed so loud. Oh my god, I felt. When you said it's not a, she goes, it's an abortion, and you're like, that's not a review of The Godfather.
Oh, thank you.
I laughed so hard. I thought it was brilliant. Oh,
Thank you.
2 minutes hard.
Oh, I laughed so hard.
Well, here.
I won't watch it.
You won't watch it?
I won't watch Godfather 3.
Oh, okay.
I won't watch it. I mean, I'll watch 1 and 2 over and over again.
Sure.
But I don't think I've gone back to 3. Listen, I get that there's a need to have women more involved in all those aspects.
Sure.
I totally get it. Because it's like, fuck. Like enough of white guys. So how are you? Are you been busy this summer? Are you guys doing? Like, I know you were doing some of your training stuff that you guys do.
Yeah, like kind of busy. She had a show. I kind of was like just settling in my life a little bit for other things, which I can tell you off the air. But now I love fall. Fall really inspires me, and I feel much more energized in fall.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah.
In summer, I always feel too hot. So
yeah, it's interesting you say that because Charlie was going through. Similar, the summer in New York is stifling. And, she was And everyone's like that. You know, I've even noticed in the business part of this show where, you know, June, July, I really don't do anything. I golf a lot, we're off a lot. And then sure enough, a couple weeks ago, you know, start to get some appointments. I got a meeting today with someone. You know, all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I'm like getting back on that because when it's, you know, in the summertime, it's like, I don't want to do that. No one's calling you back anyway.
Yeah.
And I haven't done any stand-up in a couple months. And then I got a note yesterday. It's like, oh, hey, do you want to be on the show in October? I'm like, yes, I do.
There you go.
You know, it's like Rachel, I said to her, you know, it's like golf season, then it's stand-up season.
Sure. How's fall golf? Do you like golfing in the fall?
Marco, I'll golf right up until it snows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
What happened?
Hurricane headed for my parents'
I
house.
saw that. I saw that.
Yeah. So they're messaging me. They're messaging me, happy birthday now, in case we lose communication.
When is that? When is your birthday?
This weekend.
This weekend.
First of
The
September.
first coming up.
September 1st.
Yeah.
It's a hard birthday, the 1st of September.
Yeah, Sunday, so it's Sunday.
Why?
It comes upon you so quick because you think it's September, but really it's the end of August. So I always.
My mother told all her dance students that I was going to be born at the end of August so nobody would get worried and quit dance. So to this day she thinks I'm August.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
It comes upon
She
you.
just wished me happy birthday.
Like it's Labor Day.
There we go. Welcome back, everyone. It's Humble and Fred Radio. Amanda Barker in for Fred. Phil's here. Sean Sargent producing the Twitch feed today. Marco Timpano, voice actor, hand model. That's not a lie. Podcast guy. Talked to him earlier. He's going to hang in with us till the end of the show. Phil, what is that term you called Sean the other day? You called him a nose breather?
What? No, I was talking about how.
He called you a nose breather.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? What? That seems like a weird escalation. No, we were talking about
There's
how
no
you know,
escalation.
sometimes when you aim
You
your
called him
microphone,
nose breather.
It's you can hear nose breathing. That's all. No, I'm not calling him a nose. Everyone's a nose breather, Howard.
I don't know if I am because I was doing the audiobook yesterday and they
Right.
said, we have not heard a breath on you. We're 195 pages in.
Oh my
we have not heard you take a breath. I was like, I have
You're
not.
good.
I have not breathed.
Yeah, you're good.
In or I get
Phil,
a lot of mouth
don't
noise.
get
though.
upset. I was just trying to.
I
have a little
thought
fun there.
Yeah, I
you
thought
know?
mouth breathers were worse, right?
Yeah.
Nose breathers are
Might be too
fine,
close
I
to that
guess.
microphone.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Phil, can you tell me a little bit about the chamber plan?
Absolutely. The Chamber's plan is Canada's leading group benefit plan with firms from 1 to 100 employees. More than 30,000 small to mid-sized businesses choose the Chamber's plan to protect their employees with comprehensive group benefits, including health and dental and travel, making it Canada's #1 employee benefits plan for small business. They now also offer HR services, if memory serves me right. So check them out, chamberplan.ca.
Sweet. And, of course, our friend, the retirement Sherpa, was in yesterday morning. And what do we know about him?
We know that he is a member of the Canadian Investors Protection Fund, which Raymond James also is. Experience, accreditation, resources. He's fantastic for the short term, sure, but also the long term. That's why Marco and myself are going to have a meeting with him in Burlington in the next few weeks. And get your meetings with him now because he keeps trying to retire, but he's so good at what he does. In fact, I had a conversation with Chris Brown yesterday, and he said that guy is good. And Chris Brown used to be an investor, so he knows.
Will you wear your flip-flops to the meeting in Burlington?
I'll have no choice, and I'll feel awful about it.
Bring a mask.
Rachel's moved over. Best friend Dave is with the Sherpa. And a lot of people here on the show. Tim.Niblett at raymondjames.ca.
Thank you.
Okay, so Marco's about, I think, 10 years, maybe more younger than me. How old are you?
Maybe.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, about 10 years.
You're like,
Actually, to be honest, you guys, that's probably exactly right.
Do you know who Travis Scott is?
No.
Phil, did you know who he was?
I thought he worked for TSN.
Do you know who he was, Sean? You know who he is.
He sounds Munchie Cake pretty.
Yeah, he is. Well, I'll tell you what. His lady, Kylie Jenner.
Oh, okay.
She's one of the Kardashian kids. But Travis Scott is one of the most popular rappers in the world. And I was watching a series on Netflix. I can't remember the name of this. What is the series? It's called, where is it right here? Hang on. It's called...
What are his songs?
We can't play them. They're all filled with dirty words.
Oh, are they?
Oh.
It's called Look, Mom, I Can Fly, the documentary about Travis Scott. And I was interested in it because I'd never heard of him. Sorry, I'm just not that hip. But then I went and looked up that he's with Kylie Jenner. And Travis Scott is worth Celebrity Net Worth puts it between 15 and 40 million.
Wow.
But Kylie Jenner, who is 22 years old, first, she is a billionaire.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Cosmetics.
she is because of her cosmetic line. She did her lips, right? She got her lips injected, and everybody started doing Kylie Jenner lips by sucking on glasses. Remember that thing?
Ooh.
And so she started a whole lip plumping cosmetics line, and now she has a full cosmetics line, and she's one of the richest Kardashians, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I called up her Instagram. It's called. You heard about the Instagram,
Yes, I
right?
have,
Oh,
yeah.
Anyway, it's for two guys, old man. Oh, you heard about the Insta?
Is that the one with the pictures?
Did you get the grams with the pictures?
Is that politics or pictures?
She has 145 million followers.
How many people are on the planet?
7 billion.
7 billion.
So she's got like half the planet following her.
Okay, again,
Math.
math.
Point
Like
0
7 billion
something
people. She has 145 million. That's nearly everybody.
That's like a lot.
That's a lot, though.
That's like
Yeah.
3 continents.
Bigger than Japan.
145 million people. So every time she posts something, you know, to put it in perspective, I think I have like 800 Instagram followers. If I post something and it gets 40 whatevers, I'm like, oh, okay, that's 40 people. She posted a picture here of her and Travis Scott at the premiere of this Netflix documentary series, and her picture of her and Travis was liked by, where is it here? Hold on. It was liked by 6.5 million people.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
Hearted it.
Wow.
There was 6.5 million hearts.
Wow.
And 38,000 comments.
Oh my God. That's
It is staggering to me.
Yeah.
That, and I promise you, this is the truth. If Kylie Jenner, before this conversation, I have heard of her, but I didn't know which one she was.
She's the youngest.
She is the youngest, and her lips are plump.
Well, because she's had a lot of work done, like they all have.
Really?
You know. Oh, yeah. She was the interesting thing about Kylie. The thing I always think that's interesting is that she's never known any different. The other ones, you know, it happened. They were in high school and they get this reality show, or even past high school and they get this reality show. But Kylie Jenner was a little kid on that show. She got her first period, and that was a whole plot when she got her first period on that show. She has never known anything different than not just being in the public eye, but cameras in her house and putting every aspect of her life in front of those cameras, in front of those people. She is a product of that whole generation and, of course, that family. So it's interesting. I'm always fascinated by that.
That is a fascinating aspect of a lot of things. Celebrity culture. What is a celebrity? You know, when I was a kid, it was the people you saw on TV. You know, I remember, you know, I knew that Jack Benny and Bob Hope were these guys on television on the Carson show. But the Kardashians, and again, years from now, people will be studying this, are famous for some, they're really famous, but for not really having done, and people like to joke about them, but they don't seem to know, like what is their output? Like Kylie Jenner's is a line of product.
What is their output in terms of making money?
Well,
or?
no, how they got famous was for being what?
Really, you're asking?
Yeah.
So the story is Kardashian was OJ's lawyer.
No,
so
I know who their father was.
They had a
yeah.
very, you know, like E-level fame.
Right.
That he was a somewhat known lawyer. And of course, everybody knew Kris Jenner, which was at the time the second husband situation.
Kris Jenner.
No, Kris Jenner. What's
Bruce Jenner?
Bruce Jenner.
Because
Bruce
it's
not
Jenner
Bruce Jenner
married,
anymore, so I forgot.
Bruce Jenner married
Kris
Kardashian. Yeah, they had two more girls.
And is Kylie Jenner Kris's?
Yes.
But the other Kardashian.
She's a Jenner, not a Kardashian.
Right. So Kylie Jenner is from Bruce and Kris, but
Yes.
the other Kardashian girls, where do they come
Kendall. So it goes like this. It goes Kourtney, Kim. No, it goes Kourtney. Hang on.
Kourtney,
Kim, the other one that they're not sure might be a separate father, the tall one. Who married the basketball player.
Winona Judd, yeah.
Winona Judd. And then you get into the Jenners, and that's Kendall and Kylie. That's the family. So anyway, got the reality show because Kim Kardashian had a sex tape with, what was his name?
Oh,
the Paris Hilton.
Kanye West?
No, the one who had it with
Oh my
Paris
God,
Hilton.
guys.
too.
Okay, whatever.
Kid, Kid Rock.
No, for sure he wasn't white.
Some creepy guy who had a sex tape with someone else too.
Yeah, he did. He had a lot of sex tapes,
Yeah.
and he put it out there. Anyway, so he puts the sex tape out there, and so the story was that Chris said, well, it's out there. Who knows? But the story is that Chris said it's out there, so let's make some money and let's get the cameras. Now everyone knows who you are because they've seen you have sex on camera.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we make some money? We'll get the cameras in and we'll have a reality show. And
you
that's
know
how
who
that
produced
happened.
their show, don't you?
Yeah, it was Seacrest, right?
Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah,
Wow,
smart
that guy.
Oh no,
Yeah.
very
Oh,
smart.
man.
You know what?
Yeah.
He's a smart guy.
He's sly.
He's
He's-
very.
I
He's
wouldn't
very show
trust him.
business
Yeah,
smart.
he's the type of person who comes for me comes across as the nicest guy in the world, but I bet he's sly.
Yeah.
You don't want to mess with that guy.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if that's the. I know what you're saying. I'm
Right.
not sure if that's the descriptor, but
Sure.
he's the kind of guy that again he comes off very sort of benign television milk toasty dude, but in a meeting you could tell he'd be the guy that he knows his stuff.
Yeah, sure.
And he put that deal together. He made so much money off
man.
that.
Ray J.
Okay.
Ray J.
Like I'm really not up on the whole. I appreciate you saying that. What you just read because I don't know any of that. I know the Kardashians. My kids, of course, watched when they were kids, watched the show.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea of celebrity culture in 2019 that your fame isn't necessarily wasn't driven by your ability to do something. It was just who you were. Influencer.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, Kylie Jenner here, who, again, I came through Travis Scott, and the documentary, I watched about 45 minutes of it last night, and it's not really my music, but I was fascinated by it. Fascinated by this person could be that famous, and I'd never heard of them.
Right.
Not that I'm that in the know anymore, but
No, but still.
just somebody who is famous enough for his own Netflix series or
Sure.
a documentary. And then I saw the link between him and Jenner, and I know who she is. But I honestly, until this morning, didn't realize that she had that kind of influence.
Oh, she's actually been the biggest and most successful Kardashian. She's
Amazing.
the richest Kardashian out of all of them. Yeah. No, I remembered it was Ray J because apparently Ray J sent her a text the day she got married to Kanye West and said, "This was all me. Just remember, this was all me."
Wow.
Because he put out her sex tape. Yeah. In to get back
I got I don't know, would you call it a sex tape? Is it a...
Do you have a sex tape? Do you have a sex tape that
I
could
have,
leak?
listen,
You
I
gonna leak
have
a sex
some
tape?
sex tape. It's a different... it's different. I have some tape
You gotta-
I use. Masking tape is what you may call
You got to
it.
tape it up.
That's right. I have a sex support system.
I have
Sean, what?
I have a sex cassette.
That's right. I have a sex 8-track.
Yeah.
Funny. My sex tapes. No sound. Sean Sargent's here. Hey, man.
Oh, hey.
Hey, man.
Hey, how's it going? I'm here.
This is Sean.
I'm here now.
Yeah,
Sean,
Sean's
he's a
awesome.
great guy. He's a great guy, Sean.
try to be
Sean,
a
we've
great
been
guy.
trying to get Sean doing a segment here for the last couple of weeks, and it just hasn't worked out. Before I asked you what I wanted you to do, what were you going to present?
That first one at the top of my list, there's just kind of
Okay, well, why don't you
one-liner
start-
news.
Why don't you start with that?
Okay, Matthew McConaughey is officially a professor at the University of Texas.
Okay.
What is
which
he
is
teaching?
awesome.
Weed or tanning?
How to be confused and dazed.
You know, those commercials, have you seen the Matthew McConaughey?
Yes, I have.
I watched
The Lincoln ones?
Yeah, they sometimes come on during the golf broadcasts, and I stopped one a few weeks ago because I wanted to watch it again. He was at a party, he's at a party, and without he sort of doesn't say goodbye to anybody, just mysteriously leaves this party. And,
Irish goodbye, we call it.
yeah, and he just kind of leaves, and they're all like, "Where did he go?" And then he's in the car, and he's just looking in the rearview mirror, contemplating. Just none of it made any sense.
No, he doesn't. I don't know when he went from super hot to like weird lizard man, but it happened.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I still find him hot because I have a thing for him. But
The Dallas Buyers Club is my favorite movie. Is he in that?
Yeah.
He's
He won
really
a-
good in that.
He won for it.
Did he?
Yeah, and then he thanked himself at the Oscars.
Come on.
Remember?
No.
No, his whole Oscar speech was like, "There's one person I'd like to thank. it's me. and then like, but made it like me 20 years ago doing that. Like, it just was like, I'm the man. Like, and so I read a review about an awful movie he did in the last year, and they're like, it's like he's never stopped doing his Oscar speech, and they just tape bits of it for the Lincoln thing. And
that's funny.
Movies are just him still in that Oscar speech.
So he's a professor. That's your top story.
He's going to be
And
teaching.
he's teaching what?
Starting this fall, he's going to actually be teaching like the whole semester in radio, television, and film.
That's just bizarre.
He's gonna. It's not. That's not gonna last.
Okay. Well, he's apparently been like a visiting instructor for years, and he used to. They sponsored him going into film and everything.
Well, he's a proud Texan, so that part I can see for sure. Him and Renee Zellweger were they were in a movie, the first movie ever, like a web series. They did a movie together when they were very, very young.
Yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right?
It was called that. Yeah, one of them.
One of the
like the fourth one.
Have you seen her lately?
Well, no. What happened?
No, yeah,
I
what
haven't
happened
seen
to
Well,
her.
she's doing the Judy Garland film.
What? She is?
I
don't know.
Zellweger?
You might.
She's playing Judy Garland in this upcoming film that everybody's going crazy about.
Really?
Renee.
How am I the only person who knows this?
I knew she had because she had a Netflix series that people were like, it's okay.
Yeah, although Judy Garland, yes, Renee Zellweger,
Okay, thank
yes,
you.
she looks great in it.
Yeah, everyone's like kind of saying
Wow.
she's going to be like amazing in it
Oh, yeah.
and whatnot.
Oh yeah, it
Is
looks
that part
great.
of TIFF?
I know she's had a lot of work done
yeah.
and she looks different.
Yeah.
But good for her. Who
Yeah, why
cares?
not?
If she wants to
Let her do it.
If she wants to put her nose on her forehead, let her do it, man.
Do it all.
Oh yeah, she does. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it looks like actually, what's funny is she looks more like her as Judy Garland.
Yeah.
than she looks
Like
like
herself.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so but the real story that I asked Sean to explain is something I think regular listeners of the program will appreciate. It's Sean Sargent, the science guy, and he's going to explain quantum teleportation. Please enjoy responsibly.
I'm going to try and explain quantum teleportation.
Is there math?
There's always math involved.
Okay.
Quantum physics. It's light topics. But yeah, scientists recently announced they have actually teleported for the first time. We know we can do it. They teleported a photon, which is a light particle. They teleported information from one light particle to another light particle, completely teleported, not in any way connected. And this was the University of Austria working with the University of, I think it was Science and Technology of China.
I love how
There we
Sean
go.
thinks he needs to do this from memory. You can look at your notes.
Nope, not allowed. No, totally from memory.
That
looking
is-
at pictures
that
too.
and that was well explained. That idea that you're able to transport just the tiniest bit of information from one place to another.
Yes. So teleportation actually doesn't transport matter like
Not
we
yet
think
it
it does.
doesn't.
Not yet.
Not
but that's
yet.
the goal.
Oh, I see. Because I thought it was matter. I thought
Yeah.
this was the first matter that's
no,
been
not Star Trek. We're not there
No,
yet.
but it teleported
But-
a photon of information.
Information from one photon to
One
another
photon.
photon.
Right.
Which
Photons.
that's huge. That we didn't know we could actually do that before. Now
okay,
it's
so
like
to me that sounds like the phone and the internet. So I think I've lost something in terms of what, like, can't we just put information from one thing to another?
My fear is what happens when they transport a photon over and they cross it with a fly DNA.
Yes.
Then what happens to the photon?
Then an entire franchise of movies.
a whole civilization of
well done,
fly
young
people.
man.
Yeah. I don't know if I really got that all the way through, but beam splitters and things like that I don't understand, and degrees in science, and I'm a musician, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, you're doing great.
To me, it's just a
You're
phone
doing
call. I don't really Anyway, okay.
Photons.
Would you do me the service of talking about Freedom Construction? Can
I
you
will.
find that? Is that in front of you somewhere?
Phil.
No, it's over there in the folder. I'll tell you what I'll do. While you're looking for it, coming in the next couple of weeks, we're happy to have our friend. Now, Phil's been producing. Come on over, Phil. Thanks, Sean. Phil's been producing a podcast because we do some other. We let our studio to people producing podcasts. If that's something you're interested in, we're happy to help. Phil does all the work, and it's great. So it was a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, I signed this lovely person, Barb.
Yes, Barb Palushkovich.
Barb Palushkovich. And her company is CDN Technologies, and we've done a deal. They're going to become a partner of the program. How to avoid being a victim of a devastating ransomware attack, bank fraud, negative PR, or data breach. CDNTechnologies.com is your outsourced computer company providing IT service, IT support, and IT security to businesses in the Oakville, Mississauga, and the GTA. Now, I want you to know, when we get Barb back in, she's been on the show before, it's crazy. The amount of vulnerability that we all have in terms of computers and the internet and our personal information. This is going to be some great conversations. 905-542-9759. CDNTechnologies.com. And Phil, you've heard a lot of those conversations. It's crazy.
Absolutely. We are playing security theater.
Yes.
And she's an unsung hero in this industry.
Yes.
Wow.
An unsung hero. I like it. What do you got over there?
I'm going to sing about some heroes.
Yes.
freedomconstruction.ca. At Freedom Construction and Development, they believe strongly that you should enjoy freedom from stress on your construction project. No matter the size or scope, you deserve to have it done on time, on budget, and on spec. Our standard for excellence is demonstrated with every project we complete. So that's great. They actually show up, and then you don't have to wait 3 weekends till someone has a sitter.
No.
That's what you want, and the fall is a great time to do it. freedomconstruction.ca. This is for my husband.
No, this is because Barb's a hero.
Oh.
No. You'll get it.
850.
No, I know the song.
Oh, I know you do. Isn't there a line where she said, "Did I ever tell you were my hero?" or something?
Yeah, That's you the gotta chorus. wait.
Oh, God. I got no time.
Sunlight on your face.
Isn't it weird that
You
like
were
you know all the words to
afraid
this,
to let me yep.
but I bet you can't add fractions.
No.
Yeah, I know.
No,
Crazy.
you win that bet because you're right.
I can't either.
Yeah.
But I know
So,
most of the words of this song.
Here's my thing. I don't need to.
No, I know.
You know what I
Fractions.
have? A phone. So I don't need to. Math class should just be kids on their phones answering the questions. Who can
Well,
find it on your phone fastest?
Except for those people that we need to learn how to take a photon and do something with it.
Listen, if that's naturally your thing, then go for it. But if you're like me, that's not gonna be your thing.
No,
That's not
exactly.
what God put you on this earth for.
I don't do a lot of math day to day. You know, you don't either.
I
We
feel
don't
like you do.
Well,
I
not
feel-
really.
What? I feel like you do quick adding.
Oh, I
all the
can
time.
do
Like-
math, but I'm saying it doesn't really come up day to day in my life
Okay,
to do a
alright.
lot of math. Let's let everyone know they can get the. Where do people go and find all your podcasts? Where
They
do
can
do?
go to iTunes, Stitcher, any place you listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
Spotify.
And do you have any revenue?
Not yet. I did have some, but
Wanna
we're working on it.
I got my own. Got my own issues.
Yeah.
What do you mean? So are you going to go out and try and monetize this?
Yes,
thing?
I am going to. I feel like, especially with the Insomnia Project now, we have so many listeners that I think we can pair with it.
To be honest, the Insomnia Project has so many listeners that are using cannabis responsibly.
Yeah,
So that's an obvious fit.
Well, you can tell me when we're done.
Sure.
I'm going to have some questions for you.
sure.
That are none of you other people's business.
But to find
Your
his podcast,
beeswax, yes.
Eat and Drink with Marco Timpano and Ali Hassan, the Insomnia Project. And you can also go to Every Place Is the Same.
Mm-hmm. All of those are fantastic and very entertaining. Yesterday I was very excited and still am to have my daughter home.
Mhm. So
I've
great.
not seen her in a couple months, although I thought I'd seen her longer, but she'd reminded me that she'd been home. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
You forgot.
I forgot.
So great.
But it's funny how, and I wonder if parents will relate to this, because I was really excited. Charlie came home, and I just wanted to hug her and stroke her hair and tell her Papa loves her. And then we had breakfast, and we hung out, we talked, and it was fun. And then, but by the time last evening came, she went out with some of her friends, and I'm like, now I'm babysitting her dog.
Right.
Yeah. And she's come in, and her crap's everywhere, and now my house is upset, and I don't put my stuff there, and there's dirty dishes, and
Yeah.
her door was open, and clothes are everywhere. I'm like, Oh, yeah. Now I remember. Because my fantasy of a child is different than the reality of a child.
That's my parents too, which drives me nuts. They're always like, Mandy's home.
Exactly, though.
There's clothes everywhere.
No, but it's true. Like I went to bed last night sort of smiling because I got to put what do I have to do with the dog? What, I have to take the dog out now.
Oh my God, that dog's so cute.
The dog is cute though, but it was just funny. And then she, I'm trying to arrange because she's going to be here for a couple weeks. And,
yeah.
And anyway, it was just sort of cute how I was, by the end of the day, I was like, oh, yeah, kids. I remember kids. Hey, thanks very much, everyone, for listening and watching on Twitch TV. We're going to do a little bit of a podcast extra. Phil's going to explain what's happening for the Best of Humble and Fred that he hosts on Friday mornings and Saturday mornings.
Yes.
Marco, all the best to you.
Thank you.
And Sean, thanks very much. Barker, hang around. A little podcast extra at humbleandfredradio.com. Phil?
This episode of Humble and Fred Radio is brought to you by FYI Music News, The Retirement Sherpa, Gig Sky, The Chambers Plan, Strain Print, Freedom Construction, Ringside MD, Clear Air Solutions, and coming soon, our newest sponsor, CDN Technologies. We broadcast to the world from the Humble and Fred Queensway National Broadcast Center. Rain made at Adam Gontier on the Best of Humble and Fred tomorrow and online at humbleandfredradio.com.
Good job, Phil. Phil, what's Rain Maida is going to be on the Best of. That's cool. Did we have Rain on by himself or with his wife?
Just himself. We were going to invite Chantal Crevier.
Chantal Crevier.
So she never came on.
Yeah, I know Rain. I've known Rain for a long time. I met Chantal on several occasions. She's from Winnipeg. And I remember her and I joking about playing ping pong.
Yes.
We had this ping pong discussion. Me and JFR went ping ponging.
Did
at
you really?
Spin.
That's
Is
so
it Spin?
funny.
Yeah.
Spin. Yeah.
I
It's
told
cool.
you
Have
I
you
had
ever done that?
Yeah,
It's a fun night.
I think Susan Sarandon owns that place.
Ooh.
She's part owner. Yeah.
Really?
Am I the only one who has celebrity news?
Marco knows a lot of shit.
He does.
Can somebody look that up? Because my phone is dying, but I'm pretty sure.
It's a ping pong place called Spin. They do it right. They give you a big basket of balls. You never have to pick them up. They have people walking around, sweeping them up. You're not chasing them all over the place.
Right.
Yeah. Susan Sarandon.
There you go.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How do you know
She owns it.
That's some crazy shit, son.
Yeah.
They were founded by her and her then boyfriend Jonathan Bricklin.
Ooh.
Yeah. So she.
Anyway, how did I get to ping pong?
Oh, because of Chantal Kreviazek. You
You're
wanted
right,
to
ping pong.
dare her or something.
Yeah. So Rain Maida, that's great, Phil. Who else? And
on the weekend, it's Adam Gontier.
Adam Gontier.
Yes.
From
3 Days Grace.
Grace.
These are wonderful interviews, and the reason why I was scheduling them was because this time last year, when we started broadcasting on Funny 820, they were among the first best ofs we put together.
Now, you and Marco, do you not have a pet?
No, we travel too much.
Yeah.
And I know what when we had this discussion before with Lumbee, he was like, so you get a kennel. But to me, I just was like, to have a pet is to have a huge. This is gonna have
It's
a pet.
responsibility.
I'd have a baby. You know what I mean?
Sean, have you ever had a dog?
When I was very young.
Okay. So
I love pets.
You won't relate to this, but Stan's been sick last couple of days.
We
and so
have had pets though.
Right.
Yeah.
But what mic is that, Phil?
5.
Okay.
Hello.
No, just the note, I had to give him wet dog food, which I don't normally do because it's got a little scratch in his throat.
Which he loves though, right?
He loves it.
Who doesn't?
Oh no, but the thing about it though, and Charlie and I were, first of all, it's disgusting. And I don't know why it's disgusting. It just has this certain smell. But Charlie, I said, why? Because I was taking it off the spoon and trying to put it in the dish. And I said, this is disgusting. And I said, why is that? She says, I think it's because it's just close enough to human food.
Yeah.
And you think, I could eat this.
Also,
like you do. Because it's like, if you didn't know, I've eaten that canned stew.
Yeah.
And it's similar in texture.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see.
And I think part of it is like, it's sort of disgusting because, like, if I had to, could I eat this dog food?
But here's the other thing with wet dog food. So my dog Wiley, my last dog, the thing that would gross me out about her food was that her poops smelled a lot like what she ate. So when I was taking it out of the can and it goes in a plop like a big old poop, it smelled a lot like her poop. You know? So that was a problem too.
I was fascinated. I didn't want to bring this up on the AM show, but recently Amanda mentioned to us, Marco, that you guys just go in and out of the washroom while the other is doing the
Really? I
business.
did?
I think you did.
Did I?
Did you not? I think you.
Well, we don't.
Oh, you don't?
We.
I think Fred and I were talking to you one day about
it's
leaving the
possible.
door open
Oh,
while
yeah.
you were doing some.
Maybe leaving the door open, but no, we don't.
You don't go
No,
in
no,
and
no.
just have a conversation
Like,
while.
hey.
No, he locks
while
the
poo
door.
air is emanating.
No.
Oh, okay, good. Okay,
No,
well,
I
we don't.
lock the door.
He locks the door.
even when no one's home.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
And
just a force.
I get mad at him because I'm like, you're gonna have a heart attack and no one's gonna be able to get in here. This
At
is
least
how I
I
think.
die in privacy. That's
Yes.
all I can say. I would rather lock the door.
Yep.
When I'm having my private moments than
Marco's quite private, actually.
I'm private.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
a
well,
private
I'm
dancer.
not, but
I'm a private dancer. I'm a private dancer.
then make some money.
Dancer for money. Phil, should we do our song? Phil.
Oh, which song?
Phil, should we do our
Do
song?
it. Sure. Do it.
Was it Monday morning this started?
I think it was Monday. Yes, yes,
I
yes.
came
yes, 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 yes.
downstairs and I had a bowl of berries. And I started singing to Phil. Berries. Berries. Berries are very nice. And by this, today, I started singing, Philly. Philly. Philly is very nice. I was trying to harmonize,
It's
but
nice,
I can't.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice
Just
song.
a sweet sentiment, Amanda. Not everything is a big Hollywood joke.
Susan
Pitch
Sarandon.
it. Let's pitch it. There you go, guys. Hey guys,
Let's
watch
do a
out.
web series
Yeah.
right now.
You were gonna at one point.
I'll do. What did I?
Yeah.
What was I gonna do?
Tim Talks?
Tim Talks.
Weren't you gonna do Tim Talks? TED Talks and a Tim's?
Yes,
Weren't
I
you?
like that idea.
Yeah, I know, I know.
That was a good idea, Mom.
I know.
What I was going to do is I was going to do this series of just getting people to talk about their Tim's orders and their
That's
favorite
great.
Tim's orders.
Oh, I would watch that.
And all it is people in a Tim Hortons
Yeah.
telling you about why they like their favorite Tim's orders.
Everything bagel, urban garlic cream cheese.
Mine would be double, but don't fill it to the top because I'll spill it. No,
Yeah.
no, less. Pour a little out. No, but you can even put it in a large one, but charge me for a small.
Right. I mine's really simple: medium dark roast.
Oh.
And now I like those little hockey puck things.
Yeah.
What
The egg
you
bites.
had.
What I
Egg
just-
bites.
what we
Thank
just
you.
did.
yeah.
What hockey puck things?
Well, they're like
The sous
their
vide.
version of the sous vide
Oh,
egg.
okay.
What do they call them? Tim
I guess they're just egg bites or something, aren't they? Like
I think
Tim
they're egg bites or
Yeah, that's
like-
right.
I don't know
The,
what they're called.
the
My friend's
Tim's
in the
Tots.
commercial. My friend Ruth's in the commercial.
Oh,
I forgot about that. Thank you.
Yeah, that
The
was
Tim's.
yours.
I called because you know what it was when I started smoking a lot of weed again. I would. I
think you called me high. I was like, I
called
got
you
an
high.
idea.
I called Barker. I'm like, Barker, I got a great idea.
I was like, okay.
I know. I do. One thing about me high though is I get really enthusiastic about material, and then later I'll go, that's not as funny as I thought it was. But I do think that's a good idea. Tim Talks. Fuck. Well, do you have a place for your do you write an idea on a phone or do you put it on your computer?
Marco
or
has a book that he
You have a
travels
book?
around
Yeah,
with.
okay.
I
I
don't.
like the book.
I email things to myself if they're really important, and I Voxer things to myself, which is like, what's that?
I do that sometimes
Yeah.
too. I will just if I'm in my car and I want to remember an idea. For instance, I was driving to the golfing course yesterday, which I do occasionally.
Once in a while.
I saw an ad for eggs, and it was really. The only reason I was noted it was because it was so poorly, a big sort of Pearson side billboard. You'd think it would have been vetted by more people, and because I just remember this, it said. It's always egg. Fuck! I screwed it up. It's always egg o'clock.
Oh, yeah, I think I know.
You know the one
yeah,
I mean?
Yes, yeah.
But they use o'clock twice in the ad.
Yeah, it's
what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is weird. I remember it now.
Remember,
like,
it's because they use, and you think, well,
it's always.
It's no, but that
No,
I'm
it's
screwing
like,
it up. It's fuck. I wish I'd written it down. It's egg o'clock. It's always egg. It's like,
I know because I looked at it and I thought it was odd
Where is
too.
401 beside Pearson, right?
yeah, it's like the. I'm just trying to. Maybe I can.
I thought if it was like it's eggs o'clock. O'clock, it means there's two eggs, right?
No, but it's
No,
you
it's
know,
like-
it's poorly. That's why I noted it because I thought, well, that's weird because it's an ad, and they use the same word twice.
Yeah.
And it just Okay, so I'll try and see if I can see it, and I'll bring it in on Tuesday, Phil. Okay.
All right.
The other thing I wanted to
It's
mention.
always breakfast o'clock?
No.
It was odd because I remember.
It is odd.
I remember looking at it saying, but you're driving or something, so you see it and then it's gone. And you're like, oh,
right.
The other thing I want to talk about Tuesday is the proliferation of the CPAP machines.
Oh my God! All our friends.
It's crazy.
When they come to the cottage, they're all bringing their CPAPs.
These CPAPs.
You need the machine, and then you need the thing to clean the
That's
machine.
the thing.
Here's my thing.
The dirty CPAP is the scourge of our generation, apparently.
But here's the thing. Those sleep clinics have a vested interest in selling you that machine. So, but that said, I say that, but then we have very good friends who said it's completely saved their relationship. So I don't know.
Well, I have a friend, Clark Gordon, from Weyburn, Saskatchewan, and 2 years ago when I was in Regina for a golf tournament, which I play occasionally, he came to visit me in Moose Jaw after the tournament was over, and he ended up staying. I was staying in a little crappy hotel, and I said, just stay. There's another bed. Hang in. We'll hang out. And then as we're getting ready to go to sleep, he brings out his machine. I'd never seen one before. He's got the mask, and he's hooked up to the thing. That was my first CPAP experience.
Yeah.
But I listen to a lot of satellite radio, and it's just it's one ad after another for the dirty CPAP, which also sounds like a porn category to me.
Yeah.
I like a dirty CPAP.
A girl giving another girl a dirty CPAP.
Oh, this is terrible.
Yeah,
Snoring
I'll
all
give
day.
you. Hey, if you had because there's a dirty Sanchez.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll give you a clean CPAP. That's a whole other section.
I'll clean your fucking CPAP. This is pissing me off. God damn it. Because I just wrote down egg o'clock.
Well, now everyone's going to look for it.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Marco. Yeah, it was just one.
It's like, what time o'clock is it?
It's always
egg
it's egg o'clock.
Like,
yeah,
it's
but they used o'clock
What time
twice.
o'clock?
Yeah,
No, but it's like, why would you use o'clock
That's
twice?
exactly
Why
what it
not
was.
use egg twice?
Well,
Why,
whatever it was like no one saw that and went, maybe we can find another.
Hipsters.
It's too many
doing
o'clocks.
ads. Hipsters doing ads.
Yeah, well,
it's
there's-
funny because it's like you say o'clock and then you would say o'clock again.
Well, there's a
It's so
hipster
funny.
upstairs. I'll ask her about.
Yeah,
it.
ask her.
She's an
She'll be
advertising
like, Daddy,
hipster.
that's the
Daddy.
one where they do it twice, and that's why, because it's like all, rough around the edges.
You know
we were
those.
talking about
It's funny because Charlie did a campaign. It's still when she was working in Toronto at Leo Burnett, and it's funny. I hadn't seen it for a while, but she did an ad or came up with a concept for this radio station, Chum FM. You know that thing? It says "Make Toronto Pop."
Yeah.
That's Charlie's.
Oh, that's awesome.
She hates it, but that's a different story. But it's that thing is because it's all basically it's the irony of make Toronto pop music
Right.
and pop, and then it's all the stylized
Right.
artwork around it.
Right.
That's her partner, James.
I'm sure
but she just thinks it's fine. I
Proud of
said,
that
yeah,
one.
that Chum thing is still running. But that makes more sense than 2 o'clocks in the same fucking ad.
I'm going to use that now when I want to know the time. Amanda, what o'clock is it?
Yeah, how many o'clocks is it?
O'clock.
All right, you guys.
All right.
Well, hey, all right.
See you Tuesday.
See
you next Tuesday.
CPAP you next Tuesday.
CPAP. I'll give you. I'll clean your CPAP machine.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
What's that?
CPAP's flaring up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Flare up. You've had the flare up.
Oh yeah.
You've dated some girls that had a flare up.
Yeah, man. All right, kids. We'll see you on Tuesday.